everybody. I know what you're all probably wondering. Mike, where the hell are the videos? Well, yeah, they're coming. Don't worry. I took April off to work on stuff. I got the majority of the special project done. Again, we're not getting to that until we get to 5,000, but in due time. And rest assured, that will be coming. And I got a Let's Play coming out this coming month, May. This is going to be an unscripted video. I thought about doing this for a while, but I thought, why not? Let's do it now. I'm going to put this video, this is going to be a video, an overview, if you will, of every single PlushBrains character as of April 2025. Some of you may think, what's the point of this video? Well, it's for newcomers, mainly. Give them a bit more detail about every character, where I got them from, the inspiration for them, if they're not exactly how they were in their original source material, stuff like that. I want to share, basically. I want to share some cool stories and such about every single moron I have in this ridiculous show. And I think it's only right to start with Kermit the Frog. Hi, all there. Kermit the Frog here. Kermit the Frog. He was not the first character I had in mind for PlushBrains. Again, I had the idea of making a plush series for a while. I think 2016 was when I heavily considered it. And at that point, I didn't have Kermit. I had Bart, I had SpongeBob, I had Boris, I had Garfield. Did not have Kermit. Kermit was not one of the people I had at that time. I wanted a Kermit plush, but I never had one. So, yes, this was it. I got this guy at a Stop and Shop, if you could believe that. For those of you who aren't in the New England hemisphere, if you will, the New England area, if you thought Family Guy was the Stop and Shop stuff, like Stop and Shop was just a location from Family Guy, you're wrong. That was a real place. I'm not sure if that had any influence, if you will, if like that was copyright or something, but yeah, I'm fairly certain that Stop and Shop existed before that. But yes, that's where I got this guy. I don't exactly remember the exact location. I'm not going to give that away. When was he made? The tag is faded. You can see that he's a tie plush, obviously. And let's see if we can find a date on here. It is really faded. Let me see if I can make it out. Nope. I'd want to say maybe like 2014, maybe around the time that Muppets Most Wanted came out. But that could be wrong. Some of you may notice he has this little hole in his arm. Somebody noticed that, actually. He's had that since the beginning, I think. I've just never gotten around to fixing it. I should probably do that. It doesn't bother me, so, like, you know, well, why should I? The fact about my Kermit voice, actually, I could actually do a much more convincing Kermit if I try, like, hi ho, Kermit the Frog here. It's not that easy being green. Like, I could do a bit better Kermit voice, but this is a lot easier to come out. I'm not really trying to nail a voice here. I want something that's presentable, but something that's not, gonna wear me out. And I try to go for more like a Jim Henson kind of hum, but, yeah, I don't think that really works. But, I try. Kermit's role in PlushBrains, he's like the boss. He's the guy that runs the whole operation, which is easier said than done. He is loosely based on Cyrus A. Tweedums from Hero Core 64's Plushtopia. I wouldn't say one for one, loosely based, because he fits a similar role. Like, Tweedums is the ruler of Plushtopia, and he's been doing it for years. He's old. Like, I'm not saying he's old, but like he's certainly been the ruler of Plushtopia for a long time. And when you rule a town full of nothing but idiots, it gets under your skin, or his feathers in this case. So naturally, he gets angry very quickly. He resorts to violence very quickly. But that's the thing that I try to tone down with Kermit. Like, that kind of character works, obviously, but I don't want Kermit to get too violent right away. He has gotten violent in the past, obviously, but that's only if something really pushes on, or something is so absurd that it just, like, calls for it. There's a comedic kind of angle to it. But yeah, like, if Kermit wasn't here, the show would fall apart. Basically, it's like the Muppet Show, basically. That's like Kermit's role on the Muppet Show. So, yeah. I could be doing better things, but, I guess I wouldn't be anywhere without these guys, so, yeah. But let's move on to probably one of the more popular characters that's been around for a while. I'm Bart Simpson. Who the hell are you? This is Bart. Obviously, I mean, who doesn't know Bart Simpson? This plush I got at Universal Studios Hollywood. No, not Hollywood, Florida. back in 2016. It wasn't made for Universal, actually. Let's see if I can find the company that made this stupid thing. Here we go. He was made by a company called Toy Factory, and this plush is from, let's see if I can find a date, 2015, so that's about a year before. This was actually from one of the carnival games they had outside of the Simpsons ride, hence why he's so freaking massive. So, yeah, he's had some rough stuff. You see this little stitch right here? One of my cousins stabbed him with a screwdriver, so I had to fix that. And then one of them tried to cut his back open and use him as a puppet, so I had to fix that as well. That, actually, I could probably cut those seams and do a better job, but, stuff. But he's been through a lot. You can see the top of his head has this big piece of plastic or cardboard. Not cardboard, but, like, it's a really sharp material. You see, it kind of looks like glass almost. I doubt it's glass, but it's poked through his head and it's broken. So his head is, kind of looks like he has brain damage. But, with his cross eyes, I'd say, maybe. What's even brain damage to begin with? Who cares? So, Bart, in the early days, he had, like, a different voice. He sounded like, hello, everybody, I'm Bart Simpson. Good to have you here. I wouldn't say it's like a season 1 jitter kind of thing, like, a lot of characters, like Stimpy, or like Peter and Lois, or even like SpongeBob, or someone like that. Because, like, there's a lot of early days of shows, characters sound off compared to how they later sound, even though they're voiced by the same person the whole time. I wouldn't say it's that. This is more or less me trying to do something different back then. But then I settled on something else later. But yeah, his voice was loosely based on Teddy the Teddy Bear, who was also from Plushtopia, and Mario from Glove and Boots, like Fafa! I don't think we have the right ingredients for gumbo! Like, they kind of had a bit of that in there, especially when he gets angry, like, oh my god, oh! Like, you can kind of hear that. And then, Teddy, like, he's very low like this, whoa! Yeah, so that's kind of the inspiration for that early voice. But then I just kind of, I took my normal voice and just kind of added a bit of dumbness to it. And that's what Bart's voice is now. This is one of the instances where I took liberties with the character, only because, I feel like, I could not pull off the traditional Bart Simpson, like Nancy Cartwright. I could not do that, so I took liberties. The whole liberties with characters is also kind of inspired by Hero 64. He did a lot of that. So, yeah. Bart is a big idiot. He likes pizza, and that's pretty much all. He used to like chimichangas, but I dropped that because I never tried them, and if I was going to incorporate them, that would be a problem. So pizza is something I could incorporate at some point, which I have in the past. So, yeah, that's Bart Simpson for you. And then, I'm not really sure what order I'm going in. I'm kind of trying to go in order of appearance, or at least, chronologically, but there are a few that's going to be off, like our next one, and that is probably one of my favorite PlushBrains characters to do, SpongeBob SquarePants. Ahoy, everybody! Yeah, SpongeBob is probably one of my favorites characters, period, in general. Not just PlushBrains, just like in the world, honestly. He's left his mark on me. Not trying to make that sound weird. This is obviously a tie plush. I think, his tag came off, okay. I don't remember what year. I want to say like 2007, 2009, probably around the 10th anniversary of SpongeBob, I'd want to say. I got this guy at a gift shop in a hospital. I am not kidding. That is, that is a fact, actually. I also had the Ty Gary plush, but I lost that during my move in 2017, so yeah, that's a real shame. But SpongeBob, obviously, he's like, he's enthusiastic, but he's not dumb. He's not dumb. He's not like Clueless. I kind of model him after, like, early season SpongeBob, where he wasn't a flat-out idiot. He was happy, he was optimistic, but he could be pushed to his limit. He could, like, get annoyed. He could get angry. Like, Rock Bottom is a great example of that. Or, Can You Spare a Dime? I know a lot of people complain about, like, the fan art of, like, modern SpongeBob and classic SpongeBob. Like, there's the argument that SpongeBob would not do this, regardless. But I think the point they're trying to prove is that Season 1 SpongeBob had more layers. He had more layers to him, and I feel like a later SpongeBob would get it. He'd find him annoying. I don't pick a side. I don't have a side I'm on. I'm kind of in the middle of the road, because I believe on both sides of the argument. but I want to, like, go for a bit more layers to the character. Like, he's, like, not a flat-out idiot. He has his guilty pleasures. He has fun, but he is, you know, he still has his limits. So I'm not a complete idiot in this show, but, yeah. He was a little bit smarter. I thought about the idea of making SpongeBob a bit more of a genius. We saw that in, like, 2021 and 2022. He had, like, you know, he had a remote that would make him go to different places, dimensions, and such. Might bring that back, but I'm not sure. But yeah, SpongeBob's one of my favorite characters to do. Anytime I get the opportunity to put him in a video, I will try. Of course, I want to make time for other characters, of course, but SpongeBob, he's one of the keepers. One of the keepers. Never get the chance to do that, especially if I'm doing a gaming video or one-handed camera. But there you go. I just hit the tripod. Ouch. Moving up, we have one of the weirder additions to PlushBrains, at least the early days, and that is Grandpa Boris from Rugrats. I've never learned how to pronounce his full name. They don't mention it that often in Rugrats, to the point where, like, I can memorize it. It's actually kind of sad, given how long I've been watching that show for, because Rugrats is a very important show to my childhood, so I have a huge soft spot for it. So, of course, I had to have some Rugrats in PlushBrains. I wouldn't even call this a plush. This is more like a doll, honestly, but he does have, like, plush underneath. Like, if you lift his shirt, like, that is definitely fabric material. His clothes are removable. I've just never done that in a video. It's actually staining the fabric. That's actually kind of concerning. Who made this guy? This was copyright 1997, although I don't think it released until 1998, I think. Rugrats, the early days of Rugrats were kind of rough. There wasn't really much merchandise. They were more focused on Ren and Stimpy at the time for merchandise, because that was the big deal. So, once Rugrats became popular due to the success of reruns, they started making the merch. And this was by Mattel. I don't know if... Yeah, there it is right there. Mattel and Acro Toys. I don't know what exactly involvement they had. But there you go. His pants also can be removed, but I'm not doing that. I think you can kind of see, like, yeah, it's kind of held on with an elastic. Oh, don't you dare look at my butt. Okay, there. Let's just fix that. So yeah, Boris is, this is a character that I kind of took liberties. Boris has a much more older sounding voice, like hello everybody, I'm Grandpappy Boris, like, I call him Grandpappy Boris, by the way, we'll get to that. But, you know, that would not be fun to do. So I aged him down a bit. So he has that same kind of sound, but it's not entirely old, honestly. But, yes. As some of you may know, Boris in the original Rugrats, at the very least. Then again, he was in the 2021 Rugrats, but they didn't make it as obvious. He's Jewish, obviously. But I don't want to offend, so I kind of removed all of those Jewish things. That's why he says, like, certain things correctly. That's why he's kind of participated in Christmas stuff. He still celebrates Hanukkah canonically. I don't know the right words. You know me, guys. I'm unprofessional. But I don't really try to bring attention to it because, like, you know, he's kind of his own character here. And I call him Grandpappy Boris instead of Grandpa Boris because I just think that's funny, honestly. I think that's funny. Got him off of eBay, actually. Did not get him. Did not have him as a child. Obviously, they weren't selling Rugrats merch by the time I was, like, you know, the late 2000s. I don't even know if he had any merchandise in the late 2000s or mid-2000s. I know there was Rugrats merch in the 2000s, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, I ordered him off of eBay. I got him and Lou in the same set, which we'll get to. Actually got the set complete in box. I don't know how much that goes for, but I got it for, like, a steal, like $30 or something. So, I don't know. Maybe that's how much it retailed for back in the day. I don't know, but, yes, I always like these Rugrats dolls, honestly. He's got plastic hands and plastic feet. Yeah, he's got some marks on him, some permanent marker marks. I don't know if I should try to get that off. Best not to, given it's very close to my eyebrow, and if you wreck my eyebrow, I'm gonna have to hit you with my Klubbermeister. Oh, yeah, the Klubbermeister, I don't have it with me right now, but, it's just a pointing stick for teachers or such that you see in school. It's kind of a funny thing, haha, pointing stick as a weapon. He's old. That wasn't actually funny. Who am I kidding? But, yeah, Klubbermeister is reference to, Monster in the Garage was a season 1 episode of Rugrats. And I think it was actually a sword and not a thingamajig. But then Tommy used a flashlight as a Klubbermeister, so screw it. It could work that way. then final character that I associate as like the main group, like the 2018 guys, is Garfield. Of course, Garfield. Everyone's favorite. Yeah, Garfield. Actually, no, the guys who made Portal hate Garfield, actually. That's a fact. This guy was actually made by the same company that made the, Bart plush, Toy Factory. And this was made in, if I can find a date on here. Copyright. No, is there no date on this thing? Huh, I guess there's no date. Wait, hold on. May 2011. Holy crap. I guess that might have been around the time I actually got him. I got him at, when I was on a vacation in New Hampshire, a road trip in New Hampshire. We were at Hampton Beach, and I got him at the, I think it was called the Playland Arcade. Yeah, this is back when I was into ticket redemption games. Not really much anymore. I'm all about video games. He's been through a lot. He's got kind of a, he kind of has a butthole forming. Very mature. Wow. Just wow. He used to have, like, strings on his fingers to separate them. Same with his toes, but those kind of broke off. But it doesn't bother me. This is actually a rather weird Garfield plush. I've actually seen, like, colored variations of this. And I think there was also an Odie plush that went along with this. I think the tag, that's why the tag says Garfield and Odie. I think they had that there, but I just didn't have enough tickets for it. But, yeah, Garfield. I was in a Garfield phase at the time, so chances are, if I wasn't in a Garfield phase back then, Garfield probably still had a good chance of joining the show at some point. But, yeah, got Garfield. I don't really try with the voice. I know I'm nowhere near like Lorenzo Music or even Frank Welker. I hate to say that I'm more close to like John Barnard, which is not a good comparison to make. But, whatever. He's lazy. He's lazy. That's all that matters. Blah, blah, blah. Don't disturb me on a Monday, okay? I hate Mondays. Anyways, moving on, we have another character who's... Actually, I don't even know what you'd call this character, because he made his debut in 2018, but at that point, I was still trying out characters, so he wasn't necessarily a concrete addition yet. He wouldn't be until 2020. It is Cookie Monster! Of course! So, yeah, Cookie Monster, actually rather interesting. First, let me actually explain when he was made. He was made by Hasbro in 2013. That's rather interesting. Also found him at a Stop and Shop. It wasn't the same Stop and Shop as Kermit. It was a different one. It was back when I lived in Boston. I used to live in the city. And they had a really tiny Stop and Shop there. This was, like, under context, back then, the bigger Stop and Shops that you're probably familiar with for anyone who lives in the New England area. Those used to be called Super Stop and Shops. And then they'd have smaller Stop and Shops that were in, like, small cities and such. I don't know how many of those still exist. I think the one I used to go to is still around. But, yeah, the thing was like the size of like 3 houses, no joke. Or at least the length of 3 houses. But yeah, that's where I got Cookie Monster from. I also got Ernie and Bert there as well. Not the same trip, but yeah. But Cookie Monster, it's been very good. It is basically Cookie Monster. I try to put some restriction on Cookie Monster, because like, there's a reason why I guess you don't really see Cookie Monster as much, like that much on like newer Sesame Street, because, you know, it'd be repetitive, honestly. Because, like, you know, he got one track mind. I want cookies. Cookie, 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 obviously. So I don't go through the effort of, like, making that his priority. He's got a bit more layers. He likes other food. He's got a bit of a sarcastic kind of edge to him. But, I guess all my characters do. But he still has a soft spot for cookies. But he's not, like, 1-for-1 with the actual Cookie Monster from Sesame Street. And, like, the Cookie Monster from Sesame Street, obviously. I know Squidward Tentacles in 1997 definitely makes an effort to make him more like Sesame Street's Cookie Monster, but, you know, I'm going to try to go further to something more, you know, presentable. I mean, I'm not saying that Cookie Monster is not presentable at all, but you know what I mean. But, yeah, Cookie Monster, I like Cookie Monster. Cookie Monster has been one of my favorites. Some of you may know in his debut, Beast in the Pool House, he had a completely different voice. I did not master the Cookie Monster voice back then. So he sounded like this. Like, you know, me lost me cookie at the disco. Me lost me cookie in the boogie music. Yeah, he sounded like that. And I'll admit, there was almost going to be a video where he had that voice still, but that didn't happen in 2019. And that would have kind of been his, like, proper introduction, or his mainstay in PlushBrains. But that didn't happen until 2020 with TV Troubles, where we established the, you know, Cookie Monster voice you all know today, of course. Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, what else? That voice was kind of like the basis for Nicolas Ninji. Although I'll admit that one kind of went into other territory. We'll get to that when we do, unless I forget. So, yeah, but that's Cookie Monster. What else is to say about Cookie Monster? And at the time, back when I was doing these, like in 2020, I categorized the characters in groups. So I had Kermit's group and Cookie Monster's group. So if you ever wonder why in like award shows, I have Kermit's group, Cookie Monster's group, and the rest are just like characters from this select year and such, it's because like that was an old thing I used to do, especially when I was organizing like stock art for thumbnails. So, if Cookie Monster was the Kermit of his group, I'd say that Homer Simpson was the Bart of the group. And yes, this is, believe it or not, a Burger King toy. I don't think I'm going to be able to find the tag, but there it is. I think it was on the other side. It's from 1990. That was like the Simpsons weren't even a year old. Again, I've said this in another video that the Simpsons was like a big deal back then. Even when it just started, it just exploded in popularity. It was actually kind of weird, actually. But let me see if I can find a tag. So we know what year he's. You're gonna have to take my word if he doesn't actually have a tag that says Burger King. This is. I don't usually do this to the characters. I feel violated. But, yes, this is a Burger King toy. You have my word on that, even though it's not saying that. Look it up. So, yeah, he has a plastic head. So, yeah. I always wanted this one. I got this guy from eBay. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of these characters that just came from eBay. I'm just going to be entirely honest with you. Some of them I either owned as a kid or I never did, so there you go. But, yeah, I'm Homer Simpson. His personality is basically Homer from The Simpsons. Obviously. Originally, I was not comfortable with introducing characters as they were in their original source materials, because I thought copyright would be a problem, but, you know, a lot of other channels did it. I think Woody and Daffy Duck was the one that made me realize that, yeah, you know what, this is fine. This is okay. Let's do it. So, yeah, Homer Simpson, of course. And, one notable thing of him is that he likes to call Kermit Mr. Mop. I'll shamefully admit this is kind of inspired by, SML Shrek, if you will, or if you want to be a little safer, Woody and Daffy Duck's Grumpy. Yeah, and it's obviously based on that one Simpsons moment, like, you know, well, it's not quite a mop, it's not quite a puppet, but man, so to answer your question, I don't know, something like that. So yeah, that's Homer Simpson, of course, the greatest guy in history. And then, who would be next on the list? Norbert. Norbert would be next. Yo, guys, what's up? One of my friends, I think it was Clee, always thought that my Norbert sounded like Donkey from Shrek. And you know what? I'll admit, that is kind of true. It's nowhere near Nick McKay, obviously, who voiced Norbert in Angry Beavers. That's like more like, dang it! Time for you to listen to the master, or something like that. No, that was just, the first part was just flat out Donkey. So needless to say, this is another one where I kind of took liberties. You know, Norbert in the Angry Beavers is more laid back, where this one is just basically gangster. Maybe I wouldn't compare him like Black Yoshi. Another guy really doesn't like him, but yeah, I wouldn't compare him to that, even though he has a gun. that's a character trait for Norbert and PlushBrains. He has a gun. It's not a real gun, obviously. It's a fake little crappy gun that I bought for like $2 on eBay. Norbert also got him off of eBay. I think he was made by Mattel back in the day. Does he have a tag? Yes, he does. He was made in 1998 by Mattel. Interesting. He has a gimmick. You can, if I shake him, you hear a lot of mechanized stuff. He has a hard base, and that's because he has like a whole structure in here. And when you pull in this little log here, which you've seen in videos, he does this. There you go. So, yeah, that's Norbert. I don't got much else to say. He's a bit of a gangster. He's, you know what, honestly, he kind of sounds a bit more like Daggett, actually. Just not as much of an idiot. Again, this is one instance where you should not be afraid to take liberties with your plush videos. Because, like, you know, I'm sure somebody will complain. I've had complainers about this sort of thing. But you know what? If they can't get behind that it's, you know, my own entertainment, then don't know what to tell them. Moving on, we got another Mattel guy here. And that is Stimpy. Oh, joy! I think originally, Stimpy was originally one of those characters where I was testing out characters still. He appeared in a cartoon and gameplay video from 2018, and he had this gimmick where he would always say, like, pull my string, or some Woody crap, and then he'd pull his hairball. Like, he was kind of acknowledging that he was a toy, again, that was like also a Hero Quest 64 thing, but eventually I strayed away from that a bit just to kind of do my own thing. And they only reference it when they're breaking the fourth wall. Stimpy's actually a pretty cool plush. He's got plastic eyes. Very much plush, actually. He's got a voice box, like a record kind of pull string kind of mechanism. All of the dialogue is archived from Season 1 episodes of Ren and Stimpy. It's actually not the right speed, so let me slow it down here.
Hey, what's the idea?
I think that was from The Littlest Giant.
So, what do you want to do?
That was from Space Madness.
Oh, boy.
I don't remember what episode that was from.
Oh, boy.
Okay, and it repeats it. This thing is randomized.
You don't call me stupid for nothing.
That might have been from one of the Space Madness or the Space episodes. Commander Hoek and Cadet Stimpy, Space Cadet Stimpy. You can definitely tell it's early Season 1, because early on, Billy West was just doing like a Larry Fine impression. But then they later asked him to amp it up because he sounded too miserable. I swear, I think that way about Lois on Family Guy. Why does Season 1 characters sound so goddamn miserable? But yeah, Stimpy also has posable arms, very thick, like, bendable rods in there, actually. I got this guy off of eBay, in box, actually. Don't have the box anymore. But, yeah, that's Simpson J Cat for you. Oh, joy! I think originally I themed his voice more to the early seasons, but I thought, you know, the later seasons with the more amped up voice, in the words of Billy West, is more well known. So I thought about doing that. But, you know, the Season 1 Stimpy's, you know, not that, I'd argue it's not the one that everyone remembers. It's the later seasons that everybody remembers. Oh, joy! And then, finally, for Cookie Monster's group, if I can reach him over here, I just have all the characters laid on my bed. It's a mess. It's Figment. Figment, the Figment of Imagination is his full name. He's a dragon, obviously, but, that's what they call him. And, he is from, the Disney parks. He's from Epcot at the Walt Disney World Resort. This is gonna sound crazy, but after all my time of going to Disney World, for all my life, I've not gone to Epcot until 2014. I guess my parents just thought, like, you know, we were kids, we were into video games and, you know, stuff like that, and toys. So let's be real here. Epcot wouldn't really please us. Kind of sad they didn't bring us there sooner, but whatever, it is what it is. I got introduced to Figment. I fell in love with this little character. So, of course, I got this guy at the Walt Disney World Resort back in 2016. No, yeah, 2016, that's right. His arms are backwards. You can kind of see, I can't really make it out, but there is supposed to be like a little thumb right there. I don't know if that was a mistake, but yeah, he's got little thumbs, actually, no, that is right. Like that. That's what it is. I've just been bending them the wrong way. There's a thumb right there. Never mind. It's right. He's got like his hands on his hips. Because, yes, he's got that sass. No, he doesn't. That's not his personality. Figment's an oddball. He sees a lot of weird shit in PlushBrains. His voice, I don't really, would I say it's more modeled after the Dave Goals Figment? I don't remember the name of the first guy who did him. Nor the guy who did him in Speedstorm, because I didn't really play much of that game. But, if I had to say, it's probably mostly inspired by the Dave Goals voice. But, yeah. Yeah, when was this plush made? I want to say around the time. I don't think Disney actually dates their plush toys at the parks. I think that's for the internet to do. But Figment's just kind of a weirdo. He sees a lot of weird stuff. He claims to see a lot of weird stuff. He imagines a lot, okay? I guess I don't use him that much anymore because, like, you know, who knows him? Like, you know, it's not going to be fair to any of my non-Florida viewers. But, you know what? It's a risk you got to take sometimes. Especially when you're dealing with, killer rabbits. Killer rabbits? I saw one the other day. That was a regular rabbit. These people will never understand. All right, next up, where is the little bastard anyway? Oh, here he is. Okay, sorry. Almost lost him in the mix. Tommy Pickles. We're moving on to characters that aren't in groups anymore. This is where I stopped doing groups. Tommy's a rather interesting character for PlushBrains. First off, it was made around the same time as, this plush, this doll, I guess. It's more doll than it is plush. You can kind of open up, you see there is plush in there. But, can I even pull out his tag? I just touched the camera. No, I think his tag is pinned. Yeah, I have this pinned because this diaper comes off real easily. Actually, it's kind of concerning. That used to be a joke I was considering, but given how many times it happened, I was just like, nope, wouldn't work. But, Yeah, this was made around the same time as the Boris doll I showed. It was by Mattel, and it was 1997, I believe, but then it was put out in 1998. I'm not sure. Again, I actually had a few of these as a kid. I think my sister had them, but then they were hand-me-downs. I think I had, like, Phil and Chucky, but I didn't have anyone else. And their clothes were gone. Like, we lost their clothes, so we had, like, a naked Chucky. But yeah, Tommy. I like Tommy. You know, I had this guy for a while. I bought him off of eBay. And I thought, like, you know, one of these days I gotta put him in PlushBrains. He was actually, there was a plush series that I had before PlushBrains. It's not part of PlushBrains. It's not canonical with PlushBrains. It was when I was trying out stuff. It was called Tommy's Tales of Scary Stuff. It was kind of based on the La segments from the Plush World News for You stuff from Hero 64. So, yeah, just Tommy tried to tell scary stories. That video is up for historical purposes, but do not take anything in there as canonical. I should have made this very obvious at the start that I wasn't counting one-time characters, so now I'll have to put a freaking warning up. This is the problem with one take. You forget stuff real easily. But Tommy, this is different. One thing, Tommy in Rugrats is supposed to be a year old. That's how old he's supposed to be in Rugrats. In my PlushBrains series, he's supposed to be 3. Which is why he's talking to all these grown-ups. And he's a bit of a mischievous little piece of junk, obviously. Piece of junk. No, don't call children that, okay? That's the best way to get smacked in the face. Or thrown in jail, depending on the scenario. But yeah, Tommy, of course, is a little pipsqueak, if you will. No, I hate being called pipsqueak. Don't call me that. Okay, Jesus Christ. But yeah, yeah, so I kind of like doing Tommy. I like Tommy a lot. He's one of those, like, underrated PlushBrains character. I don't see a lot of people talking about Tommy on my channel, but I enjoy doing them. So, yeah. And, of course, I had my own video, which nobody freaking watched. Probably because they thought it looked like freaking fan fiction, even though it blatantly wasn't. I don't know. It's hard to say. Man, Tommy's Love Problems is such an underperforming video. Man, maybe that was a bad idea. Whatever. But, yeah, Tommy, I like doing Tommy. Tommy's, obviously, if I was gonna have Rugrats, gotta have Tommy. Very similar thing with Bart. Could not do the voice of Tommy, so I had to take my liberties. So he kind of sounds like this cool little, like, he sounds like somebody who is mischievous. The voice is somewhat inspired by the character Pojo from Hero Core 64's Plushtopia. So, yeah, Tommy had always been, like, on the table for PlushBrains, even after, like, Tales of Scary Stuff didn't go anywhere. But I didn't introduce him until 2020. So, yeah, he's one of, I classify him as one of the only 2 PlushBrains characters from 2020. And the other one being, you know him and know him, Mickey Mouse. What's up, bitches? Okay, so Mickey is a complicated PlushBrains character. Very complicated. I enjoy doing him. He's a wise ass, obviously. I categorize all of my PlushBrains characters in 3 different categories. There's the friendly characters, who always get welcomed by, like, welcome to the family, that sort of thing. Then there are the gray area characters, who, like, they're kind of like, they're not evil, but, like, they're not great people either. And then there are the villains. I probably should have said the middle one third, because then that would have made more sense. I'm not good at this stuff, okay? I've been doing this for too long. But yeah, Mickey is one of those gray area characters. He's always been. I have nothing against the Walt Disney Company or Mickey Mouse. I have nothing against Mickey Mouse. It's just a thing I'm doing for the YouTube channel. It's kind of like what Squidward Tentacles 1997 is doing with Elmo right now. He's just a gray area character. He's not a villain, but he's just kind of like, a despicable wise ass. So Mickey's ruthless, mean behavior and abuse towards Kermit is largely meant to be like, me poking fun at how the Walt Disney Company is actually treating the Muppets. I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it, obviously, because, like, that's just a stupid thing to do on the internet. Everyone does it, of course, but whatever. So, like, it's just kind of a joke. Obviously, there was a point where Mickey didn't get punished, which a lot of people hated. People hate Mickey. I don't know if it's one of those things where they love to hate him or if they actually hate him. I think they might actually hate him, but, you need a character like this in a show. It spices things up. Sometimes, like, that's the point of a character. A character, you gotta love them, you gotta hate them. Like, you feel. They make you feel. That's the worst way to describe that. But Mickey Mouse, this guy, I got him I think I got them in 2015. I didn't go to Disney World in 2015, but my sister did with some of her friends, and she got this for me. Yeah, obviously it was from the Walt Disney World Resort. He actually has a big black stain on his shoe. That was from a video that didn't happen, but never got to clean that off, so yeah. I like doing Mickey Mouse, honestly. Because, yeah, he's a character that everybody loves to hate. Or they actually hate, I don't know, but, yeah. That's kind of inspired by that, but nowadays he gets hit by karma. Anytime he shows up, you know he's not going to succeed. So, yeah. And besides, Mickey does have a heart. That's why he's not a flat-out villain. I've seen people call him a flat-out villain and say, why don't you just put him in Zim's group? Well, no, I'm not putting him in Zim's group, because Zim's introduction, Mickey Mouse went up against Zim. Hello? Did you not see that video? Probably wouldn't want it. It's an old, crappy video. But, yeah, Mickey does have a heroic side. He helped out a couple of times. He bought Bart a nice birthday gift. He bought them the new computer canonically. He didn't, obviously, in real life, but because, you know, he's not real, but what can you do? And, yeah, so, you know, Mickey, he hates people, but, like, you know, whenever he sees that something could go wrong, or if, like, you know, if something halts his work, then he'll do something about it, whether it's good or bad, so... I'm not as evil as you make me out to be. I'm maybe a jerk, but I'm not flat out evil. I beg to differ. Shut up! Whatever, I gotta go work on live action stuff. I thought they were halting those. Shh! They don't know anything. What? Good grief. Oh boy, I didn't take into consideration how exhausting this video is gonna be. I'm not even halfway through the damn list. So let's move on to probably one of the more I don't really know how to describe these characters. It's CatDog, and they originally were introduced as one-time characters in the PlushBrains storytime video for Eureka's Castle, The Perfect Lunch. And yeah, I've had these guys for a while, but I never, you know, I thought about using them, but then I just thought, you know what, we need a joke where, like, SpongeBob's archived a bunch of Nickelodeon characters in a cardboard box. So let's throw them in there, and, afterwards, I thought, you know what, some of these characters I'm going to introduce into the show anyway, but I want one of them to slip in. So I did a poll on Twitter, and everyone voted for CatDog, and that was a problem for me, because I'll be entirely honest with you guys, I'm not really that big of a fan of CatDog, honestly. I knew about it as a kid, didn't have anything against it then, but then I started getting into it, or started watching it in 2018, and that's when I was like, okay, this show is not my show, so it ain't for me. So, yeah, that's why you don't really see them too often in PlushBrains, because I just, you know... If I'm not a fan of the show, then why would I use them? But, you know, I know people love these characters for some reason, even though they make very little appearances. They won the, whatchamacallit, they won the award for Best Newcomer or something in the PlushBrains Award ceremony back in 2021, even though they only had, like, very few appearances. So, I don't know what the heck's going on. Some people specifically mention them in, like, every freaking video I do. So, like, I guess there's a demand for them, but again, there's not really much I can do with these guys. You may notice that they're actually a puppet. This is also another reason why I don't really use them too often, because these puppets don't fit my big-ass hands. Yeah, cat! Yeah. So, let me just get these guys on. Here we go. Dog, this is... He's not even... Dog, this is ridiculous. I think it's wonderful, cat. So, yeah. These guys were made by, I believe, Mattel. There's a bigger one by Ideal Toys. Was it Ideal Toys, or... Who made the bigger one? Was it Ideal? Was Ideal even a thing anymore? I don't think so. That might have been, It was Applause. That's what it was. It was Applause. They made some Rugrats puppets as well, and those weird Mario plushes that some of you may know from, like, Stash Bros. It was by Mattel and Arco Toys. Am I even saying that right? I don't care. And it was also from 1998. Man, a lot of these things came from 1998. But yeah, who knows if CatDog will appear again on the channel. Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. Don't pressure me about it, okay? I do what I can. I'm only one person making these videos. But I say we add some culture to the show with Squidward Tentacles. So Squidward, everyone knows this goddamn Squidward plush. Probably because Squidward has not had a lot of plushes. There was, like, I think a Mattel one from the early 2000s, and then there's some other ones. This is the most well-known one from Ty. I got this one off of Amazon because I couldn't find it anywhere in stores. But yeah, Squidward, the tag is faded. I'd want to say this was 2007 when he came out. Oh wait, no. Look there, it says 2004. It's interesting. So yeah, Squidward had a foam piece in his neck, obviously. But that obviously does not last long. So I had to put a pencil in there. I put a pencil in there, and then I hit the ends with some sandpaper so it's not as sharp, so it doesn't rip through the plastic. So, yeah, Squidward's basically Squidward in the show. There's not really much else to say about him. It's basically how they were in the show. If I don't mention the personality, it's probably because they're exactly how they are in their original source materials. But yeah, Squidward is Squidward. Not much else to say there. All that stuff. His legs used to be sewn together, but the seam broke. I don't really mind, honestly. I've tried like sewing it back together, but it's never really worked out, honestly. So I'm fine as it is. So yeah, he always has this weird head turn. I think it has to do with the pencil. There's not enough stuffing in there. But oh well, that's what it is. My head's standing up. That works for me. But yeah, everybody has the Squidward plush. You'll see it everywhere, like Aquatic Neptune, Sponge Puppets, if anyone's familiar with that. And then even Squidward Tentacles 1997 has this one in Kermit and Friends. But yeah, that's Squidward. And he also appeared in his first debut was Perfect Lunch, PlushBrains Story Time. He was one of the ones that actually became a proper character, along with Patrick Star. Patrick Star, of course. This was an Easter gift from, I don't remember. Was it 2010? Might have been 2010 or 2011. I don't remember. But, yeah, he was also a tie plush, but the tag is all faded. I don't want to say 2009. He came around the same time as the SpongeBob plush I showed already. But yeah, Patrick. And Patrick's basically Patrick, except he's a bit of a huge troublemaker in the show. He was so out of control that Kermit had to give him his own show just to, like, tone it down a bit, asshole. Dum-dum. So, yeah. That's Patrick, obviously. Not much to say about him, because he's Patrick Star. You've seen him on my channel. He's had like the end of 2022, he got a bit tiring. Some people were starting to say that he was getting old. So I started slowing him down. So, yeah, but Patrick actually has remained as, like, one of the popular characters on the channel, despite these, issues. I think there are a couple of people who still hate him. I'm not sure. I don't keep track of everybody's opinion. I have to do what I have to do. But yeah, I'm Patrick Star, and that's all. Those gummy worms? Oh! Okay, be real with me. Why do you think I had a bag of gummy worms there? It was gonna happen. But moving on, we have Gur. Now, Gur also appeared in the PlushBrains Storytime video for The Perfect Lunch in SpongeBob's Archives. He was originally intended to join the show, but be a gag character, like a character who would pop up and say something random. Who could I compare him to? Maybe like Brainy from Hey Arnold. There you go. I had to compare him to him. So, yeah, but that didn't work out because people were demanding him to be a main character, and I was just not about ready to play that game. So I was just like, screw it. Just put him in the show. Put him in the show. I don't care. Just get everybody to be quiet. So that's why you don't see him too often, because, like, Gur is such, like, a perfect character that, like, you know, he's, like, the best Nickelodeon character ever made. He's the most funniest character ever made, period. Love Gur. Like, he was the best freaking part of Invader Zim. So, of course, I had to have him in the show. His ear is all droopy. I got him off of eBay. Did I say where I got CatDog? I think I did. I got him off of eBay as well. But, yes, Gur was got off of eBay. Who made the little stinker? Let's see here. He was made in 2013, and it was made by... Does it even say, actually? Maybe in the back? I'm not seeing a company that made them. Is that... I don't know. If anyone wants to fill me in on that, let me know. But yeah, this is Gur! Gur from the show. Ricky Simons and all. The voice was pitched up. It's kind of like a lot of... Some of Mel Blanc's characters, where they would pitch it up in post, but the actual voice was a lot lower. But yeah, I don't do that because I'm too lazy. So Gur is just like Elmo, basically. He's the Elmo voice, like, yes, I like tacos, tacos. But yeah, Gur's one of the, crazier ones on the show, which is why you don't see him too often, because, you gotta make him perfect. He's all about, like, one-liners, and, like, he's got a very, you don't want to make him talk too much, because then, like, it won't be Gur, basically. So that's why I don't go too heavy on Gur. But, yeah. Oh, the next one. I'm gonna have to get in a different position for this next character, so, gonna have to cut.
Hello there, lumpies and germs! That's right, it's Shaggy Monster. Shaggy Monster is probably one of the more, well, what can we say about Shaggy Monster? Yeah, what can you say about me? Obviously, you're the greatest character in all of PlushBrains. No, you're not! Quiet, frog! You can't resist the Shaggy Monster. Shaggy Monster is a very weird case. He was originally introduced as, well, I think originally he was a one-shot character. But he was always planned to join the show, obviously. I wasn't gonna pull the same stuff as CatDog. Or not CatDog, but some other characters that we'll get to. So, yes. Shaggy Monster started out as just Cookie Monster's cousin. He was, that was basically his first thing, obviously. But then I decided to resurrect the idea of a character that I did not go through. So originally, I had a tiny raccoon character. He was like a McDonald's toy. And he was going to be named, Racky the Raccoon. That's what I called him, Racky the Raccoon. That totally makes sense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all. It's kind of like Ricky the Raccoon, I guess, if you heard about him. But he teaches kids about bad things. That's what Racky the Raccoon did. He was like an anti-Sesame Street character. Avenue Q looking bastard. Okay, it didn't look like that, but, so yeah. Shaggy Monster, I decided to resurrect that because, the puppet's actually supposed to have, the eyes like this. He's supposed to be, like, droopy-eyed, like, oh, woe is me. But, you can actually roll these up, and I think he looks a lot better. He looks like he has quite a different personality. He looks like he's up to something with those big, open, bulgy eyes. Yes. His nose actually came off recently. I had to glue it on. Got this guy off of eBay, obviously. He was made by, if they see here, we're going to look inside Shaggy Monster. The tag is faded. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that. He's made by a company called Sunny Puppets. Silly Puppets. Sunny Puppets is a different company. They make kind of similar puppets to this, except you put your arms through the back. They have the more realistic puppets. If you know, like, some of the SML characters, like SML, I don't want to bring them up here, but he used a lot of puppets from, like, Sunny Puppets and Silly Puppets. Cody's mom. That's the same company as this guy right here. Yeah. Whereas Sunny Puppets is like Jackie Chu or Mr. Goodman, but yeah. But yeah, Shaggy Monster, so he became like an anti-Sesame Street character. Shaggy Monster's word of the day. Was that inspiration? I think I was inspired by something for that, but I don't remember what it was called. But yeah, Shaggy Monster teach all the kids about stuff. Obviously, Shaggy Monster also gets punished for this. Ow! But yeah, he also gets punished for his actions. So obviously that's to teach kids that kids who do watch the videos don't pay attention to anything that Shaggy Monster says. Shaggy Monster is bad for you at your age. Wait until you're 16. Wah! What is that supposed to mean? I make him say wah whenever something like he just like what? Like, just to add, a little personality to him. But yeah, his voice is actually, I mentioned Avenue Q, his voice is actually based on one of the drama club, like one of those cheap drama club performances of the show. And there was one where, like, the character Tricky Monster was portrayed as, like, a Cyclops. He was still into porn, obviously, but, yeah, he had, like, a voice like this, like, hello, Kate Monster, oh, sorry, me don't mean to. But, yeah, it's funny, this is not related to Shaggy Monster or PlushBrains, but they actually, I think the people who made Avenue Q made, like, an age-appropriate version for schools and drama clubs, where he had, like, an obsession for social media. But nobody ever used that. You look up like school cheap bootleg performances of that show. They're always going to use the original songs because that's the magic of the internet. Yeah, Shaggy Monster he's another complicated PlushBrains character, but he's one of my favorites. These arm rods aren't the original arm rods that he came with. He didn't come with them actually. He came with like a metal one. I think I have it right here, but I'm not gonna. Actually, let me try and pull it out. This was the arm rod he came with. You'll see a lot of these in like SML videos. Really need to stop mentioning him. But yeah, I made these arm rods. They were made out of coat hangers that I just bent with some pliers. I cut them with pliers as well. And then I got some a nice thick wooden stick from Home Depot. I sawed it in half where I needed it, and then I put some sandpaper on the edges to smooth them out, and then I coated the whole thing with black spray paint, and that's how I made these. So it's a bit of DIY for Shaggy Monster. But I've been going on about Shaggy Monster for almost 6 minutes now. That's the power of Shaggy Monster. All right, Shaggy Monster, your time's up. Ah!
Also, I'm fairly certain I forgot to mention, Shaggy Monster made his debut in the PlushBrains Storytime video for Best in Show, along with this big guy right here. Hello! This is Binyah Binyah Pollywog. If you don't know who he is, he's from a Nick Jr. show from the 90s, Gullah Gullah Island. I bet we know who made this. Play School. I thought it was going to be Mattel, because Nickelodeon and all that, but, Binyah Binyah, he's very much like Stimpy, where he's got, like, he got huge bendable rods in his arms and legs. So we could have him, T-pose, Binyah Binyah. You always see, like, eBay listings where he looks like this. This is an eBay plush. It's actually I got this from eBay. It's not an eBay plush, but, this is actually a rather rare plush, or at least it's rare and it goes for a lot of money. And usually these things are in bad condition. These things are typically baby toys. I have him like this because he's always like squat down in the show. He actually has like rattle eyes, if you hear that. So if you ever wonder why he makes those noises whenever he moves around, that's why. That's a sign that it's Play School. What do you expect? What year was this? I don't want to say 1995. That's about a year after the show happened. And we actually had to go to town on his eyes. This was some heavy DIY work. It's actually pretty cool. He was in pretty rough shape, but we painted over them and we put some laminate or something. What is the right term? Or polyurethane? I don't know. Something that makes it nice and smooth, not rough. But yes. But yeah, I actually sent the photos after he was done to the guy I bought them from, and he was actually he actually liked them. That's just show your gratitude. He was happy that this thing went to a place where somebody was willing to restore them. But that's Binyah Binyah. I don't really use him too much because I try to go for the accurate voice. I've thought about giving him a different voice. I think I had a poll about that, but I don't know. I just didn't get around to making it. But maybe one day, Binyah Binyah will get a different voice. Yeah, man, I don't know how the hell, Philip D. Garcia, rest his soul, was able to do that for like 3 seasons. And the other guy, Justin Campbell, I think his name was. Don't know how they were able to do that, let alone like, kneeling down the whole time. Gullah Gullah Island was a crazy show. I wouldn't say it's the greatest show ever made for Nickelodeon, but I thought it was fine. If you're going to watch any season of that show, watch season 3. But that's honestly why Binyah Binyah was even introduced, because at the time I was getting into that show, so yeah. But that's Binyah Binyah Pollywog. And there was also one other character who debuted in Best in Show, and that was good old Arnold. Now, Arnold is probably one of the most controversial PlushBrains characters. I mean, like, Arnold, what? For those of you who are not familiar, how could Arnold be controversial? He's like, one of the swellest guys in a cartoon, make a difference there, but, no, he was intended to be a one-timer in, Eureka's Castle of Perfect Lunch for PlushBrains Storytime. Same thing as CatDog. He was just another character that SpongeBob archived in his box. And he was in the poll to see if who would get the opportunity to join. CatDog won, so Arnold was put to rest. But people were not happy about that. So, yeah, they constantly asked me, when is Arnold coming back? When is Arnold coming back? When is Arnold coming back? And it got to the point where somebody threatened me to put him in. At that point, how is this guy gonna do it exactly? But, do not threaten me, because that's not how you yield success. That's the fastest way to get blocked. But yeah, Arnold, that's why you don't see Arnold too much. Not because I have anything against the characters, because I'm not comfortable using him. Plus, he's just, in terms of PlushBrains, there's not much I can do with him. The voice, again, another child character who was voiced by a child actor back in the day, or several child actors. So, for him, I just do my normal voice. I do my normal voice. I mean, I have, like, you know, the stinky shut up joke, if you know that. Or, like, that moment from Hey Arnold. I have that as a joke in the show that I rarely do anymore because, well, I just don't like doing Arnold. I think last year he only made one appearance. And that was in the award ceremony. So Arnold is a character that, you know, if that didn't happen, if I didn't get threatened about it, then maybe he'd appear more. But because of that, I'm just like, no. I just can't. I refuse. And I get asked about him a lot, too, so... Sorry, guys. Somebody screwed it up for you. I think he was... I think somebody got me this at Walmart back in 2018. Who made it, though? Let's take a look. This was made in 2017. Actually, no. It was definitely 2017. Because I remember I actually used this guy once in a video that doesn't exist. As a one-timer when I was still trying out characters. But he was made in 2017. And he was by... Doesn't say. Great. Unless it did say there. But, yeah, that's Arnold. He also has that same problem that Squidward has, but I just haven't gotten around to fixing it. So, oh well. Will there be luck for Arnold? I have no idea. But now I got a big guy coming up. A very big guy. Not the biggest. Shaggy Monster's the biggest character, by the way. But it's another one that I know a lot of you love on the channel. It's Shrek. Oh, hello there. Shrek, of course, this is a big-ass plush. Like, how big was this? This was by Hasbro around the time that Shrek 2 came out in 2004. It's the Jumbo Shrek plush. And this is the one that everyone knows from SML, obviously. I think they had smaller versions of this. But, yeah, I actually had this as a kid. I actually remember I had this as a kid. This is not the same one from childhood. I ended up getting this one off of eBay. But, yeah. So, originally I wanted to model him, or, like, model his personality more off of, the one from the Shrek movies. Like, you know, Shrek himself. But, eventually, you know, the donkey stuff from SML started getting in there, and I'm just like, yeah, screw it. He's gonna call everybody donkey, because let's be real here. It's funny. So, yeah. Shrek is definitely one of my favorites on this show. He used to be the producer of something during the time that a certain bad thing was making its rounds, popularized by rich people, I suppose. Not really much of a problem anymore, so I just dropped the whole thing. Much to the dismay of some of my viewers. If you know who you are, then you know who you are. I'm not saying anything. But, yeah. But yeah, Shrek, you know, Shrek, he's still got, you know... He's got his ass to save him. His ass is actually kind of, you can see that. He's got cheeks. He's got those cheeks. So, it's... I've always had the thought about the joke of, like, putting one of the characters in there. Like, I don't have any... No, they're all... I'm trying to separate the ones that I've done already from the ones that are on the bed. So, yes, but I thought about doing that joke. Don't make it happen, donkey. It's uncomfortable. Shrek made his debut in the PlushBrains Storytime video for the Science Project. Jimmy Neutron book. So, yes, donkey. But yes, I actually had a smaller Shrek plush that was released around the time that Shrek the Third happened, that I got out of Claw Machine, I think around the same time as... I'm not even into that character yet. 2013, I think, but that's not the plush I went with. I went with this big guy. So, yes, that's Shrek. And I don't have much to say. It's Shrek. He's, you know, it's going to sit on you if you say something bad. I'll stuff you like haggis. So, yes, that's Shrek, you big bastard. And then, oh boy, well, knew it was gonna get to this point. We get to the first two villains of PlushBrains. Rather complicated characters for a number of reasons. First up, we have Winslow Oddfellow, from CatDog.
Hey, you guys, how's it going?
Yeah, I had this figure for a while, I think since 2018. It was made by, I believe, Mattel in 1999. Why is he not wearing shoes? He's supposed to wear shoes. He actually has movable arms. I just like keeping him in this, like, pose because it looks stupid. But yeah. I don't like Winslow. I think his voice actor, Carlos Alazraqui, describes him perfectly as a prick. Which, yeah, sounds about right. It sounds about right. So, yeah. I try to do, like, the best I can with his voice, like, hey, you cat dog, how you doing? Too bad you can't go outside or something. That's what he usually says whenever he's talking about him in, like, an interview or something. But, yeah, again, if it's proof that I don't know, that's a proof that, again, I'm not a fan of CatDog. I don't remember much of his, quotes. I used to watch the Winslow's Home Movies short, because they had it on the Rugrats movie. They passed it up as a different short. So, it's not to say that Winslow's made an impact on me, because he hasn't. I hate the little bugger. So, yeah, not much to say about him. He made his debut in the episode Gester Pest. I just took this little douchey character and made him a villain, because he was another character that was in the box, the archive, the SpongeBob's archives in The Perfect Lunch. And again, people were pestering me, bring him back. So I brought him back, but the catch was, he was a villain. So I got the upper hand on that. Sorry, guys, that's, it was gonna happen. I'm gonna put him up there just so he doesn't get out of the way, or he's not in the way. Got him off of eBay, I think I said that. I want to say he was made by Mattel. This next guy was definitely made by Mattel. Oh boy, here we go. This is Otto Rocket from Rocket Power. Some of you may know, this was from 2001. Got him off of eBay, getting out of the way. Made his debut in Gester Pest. I hate Rocket Power. That's like the worst show I've ever seen, period. I don't mention it as much as I used to. Back then, it was kind of like a running gag on the channel. It evolved. I'm not going into the whole details here because it's weird. At first, it started out as a show that I was like, don't like it, but, I mean, whatever, what's it gonna do? But then I started realizing that other things, it was heavily promoted back then. I blamed the time period and the trends. And, yeah, so eventually it all culminated to adding one of the characters in the show as a villain. My initial thought was, hey, I hate the show, hate the characters, so naturally, if the PlushBrains characters make fun of that, they should have to put up with one of them, because that would be like a nightmare. But yeah, I had major regrets. I'm gonna be entirely honest with you guys. What's going on? That's how he sounds like. It's another again child actor who's vanished. I don't know whatever happened to that guy. I don't really want to know. But yeah, another child actor scenario. So I just gave him like a chronic smoker voice or something. These two, I don't know what their future holds. I have a video planned for these two. These two have had a video planned for a while. And I will say this, it might be the last time you see these characters. Because I've just thought, I don't like doing these characters. These are like, I think, some of the worst characters in the show. So, not much to say. That's just a warning that you may not see Otto and Winslow are like high contenders for like the first retired PlushBrains characters. I've had replacements for them planned for a while. I just haven't gotten around to doing it because family moved downstairs into where Zim's lair was. So, yeah, I don't know how pissed off people are going to be about that, but trust me when I say that when they do get replaced, if they get replaced, the characters that get replaced with are going to be like a million times better. Trust me. But, yeah, I didn't really have much to say about that. Just some history and all that. And, yeah, that was a complicated and disgraceful video, if you ask me. Jesus Christ. Let's get a little bit more positive again. Here is Winnie the Pooh. Pooh's actually a rather interesting character on the show. First off, I don't know what year he was made, because the tag is extremely faded, but he came from the Disney store. I didn't get him off the Disney store. I got him from eBay, of course. Yeah, I'm not sure when this guy was made. Definitely, like, maybe mid-2000s or something. Late 2000s? Not sure. This is actually similar to the Pooh plush that Hero Core 64 has on his channel. Except the nose is a bit different and the face is slightly different. He actually has the character called Pooh Bear on Spoon, actually. Yes, that's what he's called. Pooh Bear on Spoon. You heard me right. Pooh... I like Pooh, honestly. He's a bit different. Originally, he was a savage. He's still kind of a savage, but, like, he's, like all my characters, but, like, he's different from, like, the cuddly Winnie the Pooh bear of the very little brain. But, yes. He was actually a pretty big deal. Originally, he was a one-time character in a video that doesn't exist anymore in 2020. But then, I had no plans to bring him back until, one night I was goofing around with my friends, and I decided, you know what, let's do a stupid Pooh voice where he's completely savage. And that did insanely well. So let's put him in the show. He's one of those characters where, like, he just kind of happened. He wasn't planned, but he just came in because, I got a good reaction out of it. So, that's just, that's just share the magic, if you will. That's actually, no, this isn't magic. Who am I kidding? If you consider this magic, then what the heck is wrong with you? But yeah, he used to call everything gay, but we kind of live in a world where, like, that sort of thing is accepted now, so I don't want to offend any of my viewers. So he kind of toned down on doing that stuff. He'll squeeze out one every once in a while, but it's not like a major thing anymore. I was never trying to offend anybody with that anyway, so, yeah. But yeah, that's all I wanted, a Pooh Bear. And you better watch out, you better not touch my honey. Oh, bother. Okay. Who's next? Oh, we're moving on to the villains. Hopefully, I'd argue my favorite of the villains on this show. Plankton. Sheldon J. Plankton. Now, this guy, where'd I get this guy? Either I got him at the same gift shop in the hospital that I got the SpongeBob from. Such a ridiculous place to buy a plush toy, I know. Or I got him at a Rite Aid. I don't know if those things still exist, but that was a pharmacy. I think they all got replaced from, like, they all got replaced by, like, CVS's and Walgreens. But, yeah, I think I got him at one of those places. Might have been the former, I'm not sure. I kind of vividly remember the latter, too. I'm not sure. Here we go. He was a tie plush in 2010. Maybe that's when all the other ones were made. Maybe I've been wrong this whole time. I don't really see a lot of these. Usually they have that, like, there's one specific one that you usually see. But, this one, yeah, this one's, I see this one a couple of times in plush videos, but not all the time. This was actually used in the SpongeBob musical. Damn, that thing was freaking cheap. I know that thing's beloved as all hell, so I'm probably gonna get some criticism for that, but, where was your budget, guys? But, yeah, yeah, this is one I've had. I've had this one since childhood, actually. Yeah, his fingers used to be together, but, that's a thing that happens with these plush toys that from my experience. Their fingers come across, and they have these big oven mitt hands. Same thing happened with my Patrick. You'll see it with some of my other characters later, but, it doesn't bother me. Yeah, Plankton. He's always my favorite. He was introduced in, the video for, the PlushBrains Storytime video for Super Mario Brothers Trapped in the Perilous Pit, along with the other guy that we'll get to soon. And, yes. He's my favorite. That's why I gave him a show. I gave him Guessing with Plankton, which was inspired by the, Guessing the Characters with the Donald TikTok things. So, yeah, I mean, that was pretty obvious. I think some of you may have known that. So, yes. But yeah, that's also proof that the villains do things on their spare time. They have their own little secret plans that Zim may or may not be aware of. So, there you go. But let's move on to the next villain. That is Lord Farquaad. One guy got really mad at me introducing this guy. But whatever, what can you do? You can't satisfy everybody. It's my show. This was from 2001, around the time that the movie came out, Shrek. This was made by, who made this? I think Hasbro made it. Oh, no. Oh. McFarlane Toys made it. That's what it was. McFarlane Toys made it. So, because they were doing the Shrek toys at the time. So, yeah, he has a plastic head, and then the rest of him is plush. He actually has a hard center body. He had a voice box. He has a voice box inside of him, but it doesn't work anymore. Not sure. This thing's actually pretty pricey, I assume because of the material. Look at that. His head is like, they actually have like the, whatchamacallit, sewn in, and like these fancy materials. This is actually really smooth, silky material. And, yeah. He has bare hands for some reason, which he didn't. He had like red gloves in the movie. And his boots were also painted, but they were painted black, so it was chipping anyway when I got him, so I just took all of that off. You can see a little piece of it right there, but what's the point? It's all black underneath. It's not like he had like decorative boots or something. Decorative. He also appeared in Trapped in the Perilous Pit, and yeah, so I need to think of more plans for Farquaad, honestly, in the show, because I haven't used them that much. I don't think him and Shrek have even like interacted that much. You know, well, let's fix that. Let's fix that right now. Farquaad, you better get out of here before I sit on your face. Oh, yeah? Well, I'd like to see you do that. Okay. Oh, God! I tried to warn him, Donkey. Get off of me, you freak! Oh, yeah, run, you little small fry. There you go. And how long did that take? Like 3 years? Damn. Really don't realize these things. But anyway, next character, another well-known one on the channel, so I gotta get back in the position I was with for Shaggy Monster to do this one, so we're gonna cut.
So the next one is Zim! Invader Zim! Yes, Invader Zim. Now this guy is not an official piece of merch. This is actually a puppet that was custom made by somebody on Etsy.com. For the life of me, I don't remember the name of the seller, but I think that's probably for the best because I know people would probably try to pester him into making more of these things. So if you know who you are and you see this video, don't take offense. I'm doing you a favor, pal. But so therefore, since I didn't make this thing, I don't know exactly the details. These kind of look like spoons, actually, for eyes. But, hey, who knows? So, he has, obviously, he has the arm rods. It's like professional puppets. His arm rods are actually attached to his hands. He does have bendable fingers, as you see here. So, like, yes. And then he'll point at the camera. I'm pointing at you. So, I haven't really taken much, I haven't really utilized that much. This hand was originally, like, not attached properly, but I actually fixed that. So, a little bit more movement in that one now. Yes! So, I think originally his mouth also had, like, cardboard, but I replaced it with, like, a plastic storage bin kind of material. So it's a lot more durable. It doesn't, like, break up with, like, the sweat of your hand. So yeah, this guy is not necessarily the most well-built puppet. He's got like loose stuffing in his head. So he could be better, but Zim made his debut in the Best Bro video, probably the most ambitious PlushBrains video made to date, which is kind of sad because it's a PlushBrains Storytime video. Damn, yeah, that series really. It's important, but it's a blessing and a curse. How about we put it like that? It was a blessing and a curse. For multiple reasons. But, Zim is, he's definitely, like, the most popular of the villains on my channel. Who knows? Maybe Plankton totaled him by now because of Kissing with Plankton. You lie! I am the best! Yeah, I love Invader Zim. That's such a great show. Really sad it didn't get more than, it didn't even finish its second season. It just kind of stopped. It's a real shame, but, Zim has that cult following. Nickelodeon's aware of it. He appears in, a lot of nostalgia merch and games. So, Zim isn't forgotten. Zim has made his mark! But, some of you may know he originally had, fabric handles, tiny fabric handles, but they were so small, and his arm rods were already small enough. So I actually used the same tube, a wooden stick that I got from Home Depot, and did the same thing there, and I super glued those on. These, I did not sand those too well, actually. Did not sand those too well. I also put the same material that we put on Binyah Binyah's eyes for these as well. Same with Shaggy Monster. Didn't do as good with these, so they're a little bit more rough. But you definitely want to put some of that stuff on to make it nice and smooth, so it's nice and comfortable, But, yes, that's Invader Zim! Alright, you only get 3 minutes, Sim, because Shaggy Monster had, 6 minutes. No! By the way, this plunger, this was used as the plunger of Doom. Some of you may know that from Nicktoons Globs of Doom. This was used in one video and one video only. And it's currently his puppet stand. So we're just going to put Zim there for the rest of the video. He'll hang out there for the rest of this. I got him in 2021, I believe. But at that point, I didn't have plans to introduce him into PlushBrains. So I made that clear. But eventually I thought, screw it, let's put him in. And that was Zim.
All right, next up, also making his debut in Best Bro PlushBrains Storytime.
It's Rocco. That's right. What in the blazes? Rocco, of course. Garbage day is a very dangerous day.
Yeah, Rocco, I saw this guy cheap on eBay, so I just decided to pick him up. And he was made by, let's see who made him. This is all ironed on, by the way, so that's kind of weird. He was made by, doesn't say, Rugrats. What the? That's a misprint.
Do I look like I'm from Rugrats? Blazes. Whatever.
But 2017, and I don't know who made it, but Jesus Christ, I never noticed that until just now. And you witnessed that live. Think how lucky you are. But yeah,
Rocco, I always thought about introducing Rocco. I thought I always did a good Rocco voice, so I thought, let's bring on Rocco.
So, that's Rocco. Canonically, he's from another reality. I don't know if I'm still leaning on that plot point. Spunky is dead where he's from. Why the hell did I go through with that? This is... When you look back at your old work, you sometimes just think, wow, that was awful. So yeah, that's whether or not I still consider that completely canon is, the jury's still out about that, but,
It's Rocco in PlushBrains. But what can you do? Everyone loves Rocco, so,
he kind of paved the way for SpongeBob, in a sense. If it weren't for him, SpongeBob probably wouldn't happen, at least the way he did. So, what else hasn't been said about Rocco at this point? And his personality is basically the same as it is in the show, so, not looking for trouble. Typically, optimistic, but, shit gets too much and he loses his mind, so, yeah. That's Rocco, in a nutshell. There you go. So, let's get some money in here. Money. Yes, Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs. I had Mr. Krabs. I think he's one of the first SpongeBob plushes I ever had. And yet I didn't introduce him until, a year after all the other SpongeBob characters. What took me so long? Wait, did Plankton? I'm looking at my list. Plankton made his debut before Mr. Krabs. That's crazy. Is that right? Yeah, that's right, apparently. I never realized that until just now. This is just a day for first, ain't it? He was also a tie plush. I got him at the same time as Plankton, 2009 tie. Either at a Rite Aid or that gift shop, whatever. Somebody once told me I did a really good Mr. Krabs voice. So, yeah, money. His nose, I'm surprised his nose has lasted. His nose is just a piece of string that's really worn out, so... Yeah, he doesn't have a shirt on underneath. He doesn't have an undershirt. I don't know if you've realized that. I think there's a tiny version of this that has the undershirt. So, Mr. Krabs is very sweaty. That's why you... See, now you admit it. I didn't say that. I was just... I wasn't thinking. Personality is obviously Mr. Krabs. Not like post-movie Mr. Krabs. He'll do some scummy stuff, but he's not as scummy as post-movie Mr. Krabs. He's not gonna, try and get rid of SpongeBob or get him framed or something. He's just Mr. Krabs. Loves money. Got any money? But yeah, he appeared in the cartoon gameplay video for Press Your Luck. I don't really introduce characters in cartoon gameplay videos, and whenever I do, they end up being premieres. So that's like a big dead giveaway if I'm introducing a character in a cartoon gameplay video, if the video is a premiere. I haven't always done it, but what can you do? But yeah, there was some other red idiot who made a debut in that video as well. Shut your mouth, bozo! Yes. We got Whammy, from Press Your Luck. He's actually really flat. Look at how flat this guy is. I think somebody once thought he looked like a cookie. Well, that might have been the Kermit and Friends Whammy, actually. This plush was made by that company in 2020. I don't remember. This is based on the 2019 Press Your Luck. That's hosted by Elizabeth Banks. So, I haven't watched much of that, actually. Probably should. I'm very familiar with the original Press Your Luck that featured Peter Tamarkin. That was actually that was the one. I saw reruns of that all the time as a kid. I also grew up with Whammy, the all-new Press Your Luck. So, yeah, but this is specifically based on the 2019 revival. All-new Press Your Luck was more like a reboot, but this is like a revival, minus the final bonus round or whatever the hell you want to call it. So, yes, and instead of having that high-pitched, squeaky voice that he would have, I guess it's more raspy in the original. This is weird. This is around the time that Gilbert Gottfried passed away, which is, sad. But so I kind of modeled my voice after the Whammy voice after Gilbert Gottfried. It's horrible, but there is supposed to be a pinch of Gilbert Gottfried, what an asshole! That guy. That's why he talks like this. Terrible. It's not there. I think this was mentioned in a video, somebody else's video. I don't remember. But, yeah. I think Whammy's just turned into his own beast, honestly. But that was, he has a more silky material for his mask. It's like gold, actually. So, yeah. Whammy's out of control. I know somebody who really likes this character in my show. Yeah, I need to use him again. Because, you may have noticed that I introduced, strange, characters that maybe not a lot of people remember, or they would never think to have in a plush series. Grandpa Boris, or Grandpappy Boris, Binyah Binyah, Whammy. Who else fits the bill? Figment. There you go. That's, it's crazy, isn't it? But, let's move on. Moving on to the rest of the Simpsons. That's what we're doing.
First up, we have Marge. Boo! Oh, we're not referencing this again.
Yeah, Marge in charge and all that. Let's get over it, guys. Come on. She was justified, please. Even Toon Lover has my back. Thank you very much on that. God bless your soul. But yeah, this is from the same Burger King set. Plastic head and all. Burger King, 1990.
She was one of the first female characters in the show. That's actually rather interesting.
So, yeah, I don't really do female characters on the show. But if I can execute it or if I have ideas for them, then I'll do it. But it's not a common thing. I've had somebody complain about this. It's not, don't judge my styles, man. So, yeah, Marge made her debut in SpongeBob the Babysitter in 2022. And then she would have her own video in the form of Marge in Charge. So, yeah, and she's very much like Marge from The Simpsons, She's like, don't do that, that's not a good idea. Like, she's the, the voice of reason, but, if she's given a bit too much power, she will take advantage of that. Canyonero or Cups, that's all I'm saying. If you know, you know. But let's get to the other females here. We got,
Lisa Simpson, that's right. Dad!
I always think, I don't know, you could say otherwise, but I always thought I did a good job with Lisa saying Dad, like, Dad! I think that's the only reason why I even considered going through with her, just so she can say, Dad! That's why she was in Hound Pounding, that reason alone. Plus, she hasn't appeared in a while, because I guess I'm just not comfortable with her voice, it's just a screechy voice. When you have a character with that kind of voice, you can't really go through with that, or else you're going to annoy people. But Lisa also made her debut alongside Marge in, SpongeBob the Babysitter. She had another appearance in The World According to Patrick Star. I haven't done much with Lisa, nothing major. I guess she's just one of those characters that I couldn't really do anything big with. Maybe someday, but it's not looking like. This is also a Burger King toy from the same set. She's not wearing anything underneath. That is concerning. Oh boy. Yuck. And then, the other female character and the final member of the Simpsons family, Maggie Simpson, of course. That's right. She doesn't talk, obviously. So I just do she actually has a body. She actually has legs underneath this, but this isn't removable. The onesie, what the heck would you even call this thing? I think it's a onesie. So, yeah, Burger King toy, same lineup. I think her tag's on the outside, actually. Yes, it is. Let's see if it'll actually say goddamn Burger King for once. Prove that I am right. No, you weren't, you son of a bitch. Actually, you're a child. You're a child, and you're not even a boy. I always use that term the wrong way. Please forgive me on that. But yeah, that's Maggie. She was originally the love interest of Tommy, but that joke was quickly canned in Tommy's Love Problem. There, I'm putting it out there for those of you who don't want to watch it. They don't actually become a couple by the end. But they are just friends at the very least now, so, yeah. One gag was that she was going to be the only character that liked rocket power. I did not go through with that entirely. It was only like 1 or 2 videos. So, that was it. So, yeah. Not much to say. Those are, I have all the Simpsons members. Some of you may find it weird that I have, like, Bart as a giant, but then Homer as, like, a small little, the rest of the characters are small things. I actually have the Bart from this set. I meant to pull him out. I really should. But yeah, let me do that while I'm talking, I guess. So, I do have the Bart that came with that set, but I just didn't, I didn't bother switching them because I've been using that big guy since, 2018, so why switch it out? I'd say don't change anything, major, unless it's clearly an improvement, or if, if it's very minor. And this little thing definitely wouldn't have fit the bill. It doesn't even look that dumb. He looks like, he looks like early Bart. It's like, I'm up to something. Don't have a cow, man. I feel like this is the Bart plush I would have used if I was going to make his personality like he was in The Simpsons. But, oh yeah. Actually, one thing. This is same 1990 piece of Simpsons merch with the orange / red shirt. No blue shirt Bart this time. That's a rare whatchamacallit right there. Now let me put this little guy back, and then we're gonna resume. All right, there was one last character that made his debut in SpongeBob the Babysitter, and that was Krusty the Clown. Hey, hey! Now, I know what some of you may be thinking right off the bat. Okay, he's got a plastic head. He's got plush body. Clearly, this is also a Burger King toy. But you are wrong, actually. I think some of those Burger King toys may have been released as, like, you know, actual products that you could buy in stores internationally, but I'm not so sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But this was not a Burger King toy. This was made by Play by Play in, I believe, 1995? 1993. Wow, a few years off there. It's actually slightly different. You can see his pupils kind of, like, come out of his eyes a bit. But, it kind of looks like that killer Krusty doll, almost. Okay, maybe the head's a bit small, but, yeah. I think they actually... Who makes the Simpsons toys nowadays? Jack's Specific? I think they started making new plastic head Simpsons toys that are more reminiscent of the newer, like, Simpsons, obviously. Because this guy... You look at this is definitely reminiscent of, like Season 1 Homer. I just bumped that. Like, I have this poster up here. You see... You can kind of see that in the character's design there. So, yeah. That's clearly, like, whatchamacallit, so... I don't think they made one for Krusty, but that's a little fact I forgot to mention. That, yeah, if you want plastic head Simpsons dolls that aren't the Burger King ones, you could probably find them in stores as of this video's posting. So, yeah, I've actually seen them a couple of times at a Target, but never picked them up because I got these, so, yeah. But, yeah, Krusty, his personality is very similar to the show. I made the mistake of making him read questions, even though I knew damn well he was a goddamn literate. I later made a joke out of that in, like, the PlushBrains Storytime Christmas Spectacular. His collar always rises up like this because it's not entirely connected. There's this in the back, but I feel like that's because you could take the... No, you can't even take the shirt off. What's the point? Krusty, you make no sense. But yeah, not much to say about Krusty. He's Krusty the Clown. That's what he is. Krusty the Clown. I know somebody who really likes him on my channel, so there you go. Next one, the final character of 2022. And that's Gingy. Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! But, yeah, Gingy made his debut in the Thanksgiving PlushBrains Storytime video, What's Cooking SpongeBob. And, I got him with the Farquaad plush. He was also McFarlane Toys from 2001. He also has a voice box, but it doesn't work. I don't know if he ever came with gumdrop buttons. You may know that's the one thing this thing is missing. You look at this guy, I guess his head is a bit, doesn't really have a neck now, does he? He looks pissed off. So, there's this little joke, obviously. He has, like, a detachable leg with a little ribbon attached to it. I've used that in a couple of videos. Yeah. That's a question I've always wondered about Shrek. How the heck did he get his other leg back? Because Farquaad destroyed one of the legs in the movie. So, how did he get that back? Probably, maybe the Muffin Man made him a new leg. Maybe he had to make another gingerbread man and kill him just for his leg. I mean, you know, Shrek has that edge. It could be that way. You know? If the Muffin Man's a mad scientist kind of guy, then screw it. That could be it. That's how I got my other leg back. This one hasn't been broken off yet because stuff, but whatever. But, yeah. Gingy, well, his personality is basically how it is in Shrek, obviously. There's not much to say. I really need to use Gingy more. I try to use him whenever I can, whenever I think about him. So, yeah. That's Gingy. Okay. So, yeah, now we're moving on. Some of my favorite characters, actually. Beginning of 2023, which was supposed to be the 5-year anniversary of PlushBrains and Cartoon Gameplay. That was abysmal for a number of reasons. I'm not going to get into it here, because it's just not for the weak of heart. But we introduced to a gang of Goombas. And here's the first one, Bill the Goomba. How's it going? I gave them like thick Australian accents. So, yes. Oh, no, he got the thick Australian accent. The Goomba Gang, which is what I call them, was actually conceived as one-time characters. The video that they appeared in is no longer up, although the clip from it is a part of their debut. They had different voices, like, I think Bill originally sounded like this. He kind of had, like, Bob's voice, but a little less laid back. Not laid back, but with a bit more dominance to it. But now he has this nice, thick Australian voice. This is the Sene plush. Sani. It's a Japanese name. I know Little Buddy is the American distributor for their products. At least their plush toys. But this was one of the original Sene Japanese versions. I don't have the tag on them anymore. I used to do that with my Mario plushes. Before I started a plush series, I thought you needed Mario stuff because everybody makes Mario plushes. Everybody makes Mario plush videos. And yeah, you may notice actually, the first 4 years of PlushBrains was Mario-less. There were Mario games that we covered on the channel, but I didn't have any Mario characters. I think it's because that's been done to death. Every other YouTube channel, there are YouTube channels dedicated to just Mario. I think that's the only way you can really get a successful PlushBrains plush channel. Is with Mario, but I'm out here trying to make a difference. Yeah, like that will ever happen. I never make a difference. But yeah, that's this is Bill. I like Bill. So yeah, I think there was I don't remember the date that he was made. But yeah, this is the older one. It's not the All Stars one. He would have had like a different mouth. He would have been a little bit more on model, if you ask me. But he's got bean feet. But yeah, that's Bill. And then we have Bob, the Galumba. This is a Ben Presto plush. I don't think this ever came to the U.S. This was from like a UFO catcher, which is like a Japanese claw machine of some sort. From 1991, this is around the time that Super Mario World was making its rounds, and for those reasons, and the fact that it never came to the U.S., this is a pricey little bastard. I don't remember how much I paid for him. I don't think I want to remember, but I've wanted him for a while, so I got him. I think he originally had like a golden little string coming out of his head, but you know, the person who owned this before me clearly cut that or ripped that off. But yeah, this is Bob the Galumba. He's kind of like the middle of the group. I guess the Goomba gang is kind of like the Three Stooges, not entirely, but like, you know, Bob's basically the Larry, honestly, of the group. He's yeah, I mean, what else can you say? His eyes are plastic or glass. Don't know what material that is, but yes, I think originally, this was around the time that the Goombas in Super Mario World were actually just called Goombas. They were like the Super Mario World Goombas. And if you're wondering why he's named Bob, it's because of the Galumba that appeared in Mario Party Advance. There's a Galumba in that game named Bob, or Goombob or something. And this is before they were like officially declared as their own species, the Galumbas in Super Mario 3D World. This is still during the time that they were still sometimes thrown in with the Goombas. I think there was a Para Goomba from Super Mario World. Or, no, a winged Goomba? No, it was a winged Goomba. Because the Para one was the parachute Goomba. That was in Mario Party 3. But yeah, Bob, his name Bob is specifically based on the character Goombob from Mario Party Advance. And that kind of influenced the rest of the character's name. Because Bill, very similar. I don't think there's ever been a Goomba named Bill. I could be wrong. But, yeah. Bill's name was kind of like influenced by Bob. Which, of course, led to Billy Bob. Of course. Now, this plush you may recognize. How many of you remember the YouTube channel, Big Yoshi Fan? He kind of had like, the one that they made Luigi a, how do I put this lightly? A big dum-dum. Let's just say that. One of those Luigi-hating accounts, like SMG4 or something. Probably shouldn't mention him either, because stuff. Why do people hate Luigi again? I don't remember. Basically, this guy was a character who, I kid you not, was named Mr. Bollocks. This is the reason why I bought this guy, because I just loved those freaking videos. That was his name. He had like a bunch of commercials. Please look those up. Those things are extremely underrated. I think this character was also in the YouTube channel Goomzilla. I'm sure some of you definitely remember them. They were Mario plush channel. They were big fans of the Mario RPG games. So, yeah. And this was like their, quote, Goomzilla, if you will. So, yeah. This was from the new Super Mario Bros. DS. One of the new Super Mario Bros. DS plush lineups. There were multiple of them. He doesn't have a tag on him, so I can't recall. I'd imagine it was 2005 or 2006 when this guy came out. And I don't know if it was Ban Presto or Funko who made this guy. Then again, that might have been the re-release of the, what the hell were those ones called? I don't remember. But, yeah, I always liked this kind of Goomba plush, so, you know I had to get him. So Billy Bob is basically, the dum-dum. But, you know, we all love him very much. So, yes, I don't know what his voice is based on. I don't know, actually. What was his voice? I thought his voice was based on something, but I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know. What does it remind you of? Whatever. But, yeah, Billy Bob might be the dumbest character in PlushBrains. The absolute dumbest character. I don't think there's any activity going on in this head of his. So, yeah, but you know, that's how you all love him. So that's Billy Bob and the Goomba Gang. Okay, so at this point, I just decided, you know what? Let's just go all in on introducing Mario characters. But we want to keep that, like, you know, weirdness to PlushBrains. So let's introduce Petey Piranha. Yes! So this is Petey Piranha, obviously. His debut was Tommy's Love Problem. He was kind of the love expert, if you will. Wouldn't say he did a good job. What? No, nothing. He eventually became, like, kind of like Shaggy Monster's bro along with Norbert. Because, you know, Norbert was also into, like, chicks and stuff, as he would say. So they kind of made a gang of their own, if you will. Oh, boy, that's why you sometimes see Petey along with Norbert and Shaggy Monster. They just kind of make a weird gang together. But yeah, this is actually a bootleg plush based on, I think, the same Petey Piranha plush from that lineup that the Billy Bob is, the Goomba that's from. But, you know, that thing is hard to come by, and it's expensive as all hell. I'd like to get it someday and replace this. But you know what? Sometimes you gotta pick your battles. This dark pink fabric here is actually not what was in there originally. It was a much brighter pink, but I thought it looked awful, so I kind of glued that in. You can see it's like a hack job, like the glue marks. Kids, don't do this. But hi, I bet you didn't even know that. I thought you all thought this is how I looked. But yeah, I think it looks a lot better. So his head was also like very floppy and top heavy. Still kind of is, but I heard from some people that originally the official Petey Piranha plush that was made had a lot more stuffing in the head and the body, so like the neck, it wasn't so flimsy. So actually, I don't know how well you can see that, I kind of cut a seam down his head and stuffed him up. So now he's a lot more durable, or at least a lot more, you know, capable of standing like this without my head flopping all over the place. So yes, I'm Petey Piranha, I'm the best. And what year was I made? I don't know the date for bootleg plushes. Yeah, Shaggy Monster. I mean, no, Petey, you should have expected that. Duh, whatever. I don't care. Yeah, even if there was a tag on him, it wouldn't matter because it was probably stolen from like an official plush anyway. Reproductions of those tags made all their way around those bootlegs. Ooh, that came out weird. Whatever. Let's move on to the next character. This is another character that was not really intended for 2023, but kind of happened because I liked the character, and his status officially for Disney and the Muppets is kind of not looking good. It's Rizzo, of course, Rizzo the Rat. I always liked Rizzo, so I want to show my respect because, you know, he's kind of a retired Muppet now because the whole Steve Whitmire thing. What have you done to me, Disney? Whatever. But, yeah, this guy's actually really bendable. He's got, like, these, you know, bendable arms and legs. I've never actually taken much, I've never really done much with this, actually. But, yeah. I don't know. Has he ever worn this outfit? This was a international McDonald's toy. The Kermit in the commercial for this looked bootlegged as all hell, so I'm not even sure if this was actually official. But, yeah. That's Rizzo. He made his debut in the cartoon and gameplay video for Muppet Race Mania. He was just kind of living in the Cheez-Its. Because that's just how things happen here, somehow. And that's how I got on the show with Kermit and Fat Boy. What? Oh, yeah, that's a thing. Calls him Fat Boy. I haven't been doing that as much, have I? I need to get back on that, but yeah. Rizzo, not much to say. He's basically the same kind of personality. He's messy, he's disgusting, and he's a bit of a wise ass. Just like how I was in the Muppets. Maybe he was he that much of a wise ass? I need to rewatch, like, I don't know, maybe I'd know that if, like, they had Muppets Tonight on Disney Plus, which they don't. Doesn't surprise me. But let's move on to a plus that I've had for a while, but just didn't introduce until 2023. And that's Scooby-Doo. So, Scooby-Doo. Where did I get this guy? Oh, I got Rizzo off of eBay, by the way. Should be obvious. It's international. Petey. Was Petey eBay or Amazon? Not sure. And then Bob and Billy Bob were from eBay. I knew I was going to forget that. I knew I was. Whatever. If I forget one of these, then that's probably going to pop up in, like, post-editing. As, like, a black and white kind of freeze frame where I'm talking over it. You know how these stupid things work. But Scooby-Doo was, whatchamacallit. This was a tie plush from, I want to say... Wait, it says it right there? No, it doesn't. It's on the back. Hopefully it's not that faded. 2012. I think I got this guy in 2023 when I went down to Cape Cod for the week. And I got him at, like, a mall, a comic book store in a mall. I don't remember the name of them all. So, yeah. Scooby's personality is basically the same as it is in the Scooby-Doo stuff. Not as cowardly. Like, you know, he had his cowardly moments when he first met, like, you know, Cookie Monster and Shaggy Monster and Jack Skellington. But I'd say he's a little bit more, And again, no, there was the whatchamacallit, that one moment in the Rugrats Search for Reptar Let's Play. So, he still got his cowardly stuff, but, you know, like, whatever, it's basically what it is. And of course, you can't have... He made his debut in Marge in Charge, by the way. But you cannot have Scooby-Doo without Shaggy Rogers, of course. And here he is. Look at the neck on this guy. He's got a plastic head. This one I did not get at the very same mall. This is an older plush from... Well, let's take a look if I can find his tag. Oh, he's got a bunch of tags. I'm going to pull this out. Okay. He was made by... I'm not sure. It says that company right there. Quality. And he got this long-ass tag. What the hell? Okay. It doesn't seem to have a date on there, so whatever. I'm not... best not to mess with those, Shaggy. I'm sorry. But yeah, I want to say this thing was made like 2000s or something. It kind of looks like it. But, yeah, Shaggy was not intended like Scoop was. So, kind of like Pooh, I was messing around with, the voice when I was doing some hangouts, and I thought, screw it. If I'm gonna have Scooby-Doo, we gotta have Shaggy too. Yeah, ma'am. I love doing the Shaggy laugh, honestly. Yeah, I got him off of eBay. I think I already said that. Just trying to make sure I don't forget any of this stuff. So, yeah, that's Shaggy. Not much else to say about him. So let's move on to probably one of the most greatest characters in Plush Channel history. It's a Mario. Actually, I shouldn't say greatest because didn't think that one through. Mario. This is the Senai, little buddy, whatever, plush, tags ripped off. I think this is the original Japanese one. This is not the All-Stars one. This is the original from 2007, 2008, 9, 10, I don't remember. His hat actually came off once. His hat's supposed to be a little bit lower, like down to, I'd say here, but it just doesn't look that good. So when it came off, I kind of put it a bit higher so you can see his eyebrows. Like the real Mario pictures, you know? His hands used to be in a fist form, but they kind of got undone. Those are really dirty. I don't know if you noticed his nose was off center. One time his nose came off and we had to glue it back on with this weird material. It's my grandmother's stuff. That's probably why it was not the right, but you know, it's a Mario. Mario, I tried to base. There's so many people out there who like to make Mario like an angry asshole who hates the ever-living crap out of Luigi and just wants to get it down with the princess, you know. But, you know, I thought, you know what? That's been done to death. And I have nothing against Luigi, so let's just make Mario, let's try to make Mario like he is from Nintendo. But give him a bit more layers. You know, he can feel like, you know, like the Mario, you know. He does have his weak spots, you know, because if somebody brings up Nintendo fan stuff, I've been seeing that without the quotation marks. It's so weird. Don't call them that, guys, Jesus. You know, people complain about Nintendo a lot. I'm surprised they haven't been burned to the ground yet by these people, but, yeah, I take jabs at that too, and Mario just snaps whenever that comes up. But one rule is that I never have him get mad at Luigi or hurt him or anything, because that's just not, that's just screwed up, honestly. Like, again, Luigi's a character that's just hated for seemingly no goddamn reason. And on the subject of Luigi, let's bring him up. Should bring up that Goomba, Mario, and the Goomba that is Bill, Mario, and Luigi I got off of a website called Japan Video Games, because they saw a lot of the old that Sanai stuff, not the old stuff, at least maybe some of them, but not all of them. This you definitely couldn't buy on that. You could probably get the All-Stars one, but this is a Luigi. Oh yeah. This was the first one I actually bought off of that website. It's from the same time as the Goomba and the Mario, but I don't remember the date, so not much to say. Luigi is also very much like Luigi in the games. Want to model him after games. He likes to be a bit more gentle in terms of the Luigi, the Mario fan, not Mario fan, the Nintendo fan stuff. So, yeah, he tries to be a bit more open than Mario. But again, I want to have that, like, you know, official Nintendo bond between the two, unlike all the people who want... You know, I need to stop bringing it up. I only mention it so much because there's no reason for it. There really isn't. If you hate Luigi that much, why? Just tell me why. What did he do to you? Did he kill your grandmother? Did he give you a heart attack? Did he choke you or something when you were a kid? Do you think he just shouldn't exist because he's technically a player too? Seriously, I know that
This is supposed to be about Luigi, and you're questioning the people who hate me all over the internet.
I'm sorry, Luigi. I'm sorry. Just fill this out, I suppose.
Oh, mamma mia, but I'm glad that you guys don't do that to me. Glad you don't. So, yes, it's Luigi. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so I gotta get that off my chest whenever I can, because it's just, seriously, there's no reason for it. You can call it taking liberties, but I call it Nintendo fans trying to hate on Nintendo some more. Let's move on to Jack Skellington, shall we? This big guy I got at Disneyland. My first time at Disneyland in 2023. It was around the Halloween season when they had Haunted Mansion Holiday up and running. So I decided to get Jack Skellington. I'm sure most people are familiar with the one from, Cute Mario Brothers, him and his giraffes. Wouldn't say that's the reason why I introduced him, obviously, but there it is. Night Before Christmas. Wow, that top part has not aged well now, hasn't it? Don't think there's a date on this. Again, Disney doesn't put dates on their tags, and it's a really long tag too, maybe longer than Shaggy's. But yeah, he's a rather lanky guy. I've always thought about putting arm rods on this guy, at least the same ones that I use for Shaggy Monster, not permanently. But yes, Jack Skellington. He's very much like how he is in Haunted Mansion, or the what should we call it? A Nightmare Before Christmas. So, not much to say there. It's Jack Skellington. So yeah, I was on the fence about adding him when I got him at Disneyland, but I decided, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. Might make a fun addition. I do have a video planned for Jack, but I haven't gotten around to making it. Definitely ain't happening this year because of reasons. Almost happened last year. Actually, no, I didn't even make it to production. It's currently in the idea phase. Maybe someday, but as of right now, Jack is just one of those characters that sometimes appears. I want to make sure he's flat so his tie doesn't get all screwed up. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in my day, we had to walk 15 miles to get an overview. Because it's Grandpa Lou Pickles, of course. One of my goddamn favorite Rugrats characters, period. Obviously. So, I am ashamed. I'm actually ashamed that it took me so long to introduce this guy. I used him as a one-timer once in a video, and I didn't bring him back. Why didn't I bring him back? I think it's because, my original thought process is that I didn't want Lou in the show because, he's more well-known. I wanted an obscure character, or somebody who is not as well-known, like Boris. That's why Boris was chosen over Lou, but eventually I'm just like, come on. Think of what I could do with Lou. So I put Lou in here. Same deal. He's from the same set as Grandpa Boris, Mattel, 1997 copyright, but probably 1998 in terms of release. And again, he's just as crazy as he is in the original Rugrats, and I guess all grown up. Definitely not as laid back and, meditated. Meditated? Is meditated a word? I'm trying to reference the 2021 Rugrats, but that came out the wrong way. God damn it, boys. Where are you, Sprout? But yeah, that's Grandpa Lou for you, and he was introduced in the PlushBrains 5-year award ceremony for PlushBrains. Forgot to mention Mario and Luigi again. Mario and Luigi made their debut in the Mario Kart Double Dash Let's Play, and then Jack Skellington made his debut in the How to Patrick Star video for, what was it? VHS and DVD, how to play those. How do you play one of those? So yeah, gotta remember that. I'm forgetting. That's not a good thing. So, who's next on the list? We got Peter Griffin next. Holy crap, Lois. So, yes, how are y'all doing today? Peter, have I ever thought, did I even consider Peter at one point for the show, aside from 2024? I don't think so. Got him off of eBay. He made his debut in the How to Patrick Star video for hanging up a poster. That poster actually was that Family Guy poster you see over there. So, I guess we've come full circle. I wouldn't say that, but okay. Who made this plush, actually? I think I remember the guy, ripped that off. I think it was, a company called Nemco or something. It wasn't, not Namco, Nemco. Like with an E or something. I think so. And this was made like maybe 2005 or 2006. It was after Family Guy, the reruns for Family Guy were successful enough after it was canceled that they decided to revive the show, uncancel it for a 4th season. It was around that time. It's very much like Rugrats, just minus the cancellation. It was more or less put on hiatus. So, but yeah, that's from the same whatchamacallit. I don't know if you notice this. There are some tiny glue marks there because he used to have eyebrows. If you might look closely over there at that poster, Peter used to have eyebrows, obviously, but even though they removed it by the time this plush came out, they still had it in the plush. Like, the merchandise was themed to the early seasons. But, yeah, this is the smaller one. I would have liked the bigger one, honestly. Especially since I have the bigger Lois, but, what can you do? That's Peter Griffin, and his personality... Okay, I'm going to shamefully admit, his personality is very much based on later Family Guy, since that's what I'm more familiar with. I've definitely seen early Family Guy years ago, but I just don't remember much about it. No, I remember things, obviously, but... Yeah, but, yeah, Peter is very much based on the later seasons. Not as destructive, of course. Not as destructive. But, like, you know, he's referenced a lot of that later stuff, since that's what I'm more familiar with, so... I'm gonna piss everybody off. Let's move on to the glove. Bring out the glove. Hey! It's Glovey Glove from SpongeBob. This was, whatchamacallit? He made his debut in the same video as Peter. How to hang up a poster. He was the guy who actually hung up the poster. So, yeah. He's actually a puppet, but my hand ain't big enough to get in there. His legs are, like, literally flat. Cheap. And this was made for the SpongeBob box in 2021. It was a subscription thing made by Culture Fly. Oh no, at least maybe the plush was made by Culture Fly. I don't know if they were responsible for the actual subscription boxes. I did not subscribe to those things. I was once subscribed to the Nick box, but not these. But so I bought this guy off of eBay instead. So yeah, and I made him a bum. I made him an absolute bum. Some people say if he was based on Krusty, he slightly was. But then some people wondered if he was based on Screwball from SNL. I will shamefully admit, yes, he slightly was. I know No Parking Barry asked that, and that is very much the case. I'm not proud of a kid. Like, especially when he says, like, hey, kid, like, you know, I'm not a pedophile, though. Just want to get that out there. I'm not like the green guy. Me not the pedophile. That's the one thing we won't do. Well, there's other things, too, but shut up. I think the reason why I gave him that, like, bum kind of voice is just so it clashes with his permanent smile. It's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like how it was in, like, the Cosmic Shake, where it was, like, you know, John O'Hurley instead of, like, you know, a happy, friendly voice. Do you know what becomes of a glove without love?
I'm gonna say G.
Keep your eyes out for that Let's Play. I'm hoping to get that out in May. So, yeah, plus, you know, I thought Glovey Glove was always a dumb character. Some of you might only know him from the SpongeBob horror game, Around the Clock at Bikini Bottom. That was a fan game. They split the character in half, gave him a purple twin who was left-handed. He covered that thing a long time ago. That Let's Play was a mess. But, yeah, that's Glovey Glove. Jesus, that was, quite frankly, probably one of the messiest introductions to a character. Well, let's move on. We got, Yoshi. This is actually one of the early Sene plushes, or Santa. I'm not doing that again. Did not get this guy off of Japan Video Games. I got him off of Toy Wiz. I don't know how trustworthy that site is. I don't think they're too trustworthy. I've only ever bought like 2 things off of this, with this being one of them. This was from the same set as the Mario and the Goomba and the Luigi. So, yeah. I think they had smaller ones of these that were a part of a Yoshi's Island set. They had different, like, eye embroidered stuff. This is kind of sewn together, but whatever. And then they had a bigger one that was part of the same set, but I don't own that one. So yeah, that's Yoshi. Yoshi! So, yeah, not much to say, it's Yoshi. He made his debut in Patrick Goes on Strike. Probably one of the best PlushBrains videos ever made. So, be sure to check that out. His voice was inspired by Kirby, who was a one-time character from The Beast in the Pool House. Slightly based on that. Somebody thought it was Stitch. I think it was Klee who thought my voice was like Leo and Stitch. Hero64 thought it was Yoshi Miyamoto, who was a character on his show, Plushtopia. He was an evil Yoshi. He was the bad guy. He's into evil Yoshis. Him and Captain Metal Hands, like, damn. I mean, I have nothing against that, whatever. But yeah, funny, actually. But yeah, that's Yoshi. Not much to say about him. It's the Yosh. Yosh. And while we're on the subject of Sunny, let's move on to Olimar.
Oh, yeah, Captain Olimar here, reporting for duty.
This is, I want to say this is based on, like, the original Olimar plush from 2004 or 5, around the time that Pikmin 2 happened. It had a painted material. It actually, you know, I wanted that plush for a long time, ever since I found out about it, because I liked Pikmin, but, it was a rare son of a bitch, and I feel like, yeah, it was limited time, they stopped making them, and then, the bodies were painted. So that's like, at that point, I'd say they're not really freaking desirable. I'd say this guy is more desirable. He's got like the 2 little light thingies on him, like the newer Olimar and like Pikmin 3 Deluxe and such.
So yes, that's Captain Olimar for you.
I always wondered why they didn't just make a re-release of this guy with a plush body, and they did. Took them a long time because the original one came out like, what, 2004? And this one came out in 2018. Damn. This was, you can see the Cine logo right there, but this is the this is the American distributed one from Little Buddy. You can tell because the tag is a lot larger. I have the tags on these. Thank goodness. I got this one off of Japan Video Games as well, after a long hiatus of not buying stuff off of there.
So yeah, that's Captain Olimar. He made his debut in the How to Patrick Star video for replacing a control stick, on a GameCube controller. And,
his voice,
I gave him, like, very heroic kind of spaceman voice.
it's like a slightly smarter version of Link Hogthrob from the Muppets. That's the basis for his voice.
Oh, well, that's how the cookie crumbles, Dr. Strange Pork,
Or something like that.
Well, that's kind of the inspiration, but not entirely.
I don't try to make him sound much like Garfield. That's one thing I try to avoid. But of course, you can't have Olimar without the always hungry
Louie, of course.
Olimar's voice, I also tried to closely match the sound of his voice in the Pikmin 2 game, but not entirely. Louie, I didn't even try that. He's like, oh, Louie, Olimar, oh, like something like that. He has like a more like a, oh, kind of like weird voice, like a, you know, lazy kind of voice. But I didn't want to give him a high-pitched voice either, because I know, like, Luigi fan, Quad01, whatever he called himself, he did that with his Louie. I didn't want to take any inspirations from him, by the way, so, there. So what I did with Louie is, I was looking through some Family Guy, and I forgot all about I Needed You. So I thought, you know what, let's do an early Peter Griffin voice for Louie and have him sing a parody, I Need Some Food. And that's how Louie's voice was born. He'll say, I made his debut in the same video as Olimar. His voice is basically an early Peter Griffin. That's what it is, it's an early Peter Griffin. Don't keep me in suspense, Meg, how did you do? Well, we're gonna drink until she's hot, that kind of thing. Same thing, except this one's 2021, so this didn't come out at the same time. This is the same pattern. I always thought this plush, even the other one, looked weird because his head is not pear-shaped. It's very flat. Even if I tried squishing his head, it's not pear-shaped. His head's supposed to be a pear, but what can you do? It's Louie.
Gotta have some Louie, and you gotta have some food as well. So, there you go, and I'm Louie. Good day.
Then we got one more Pikmin character who was introduced in the same video. Also got him with Olimar, by the way, at JapanVideoGames.com. And that is the Bulb Lord, who I named Bentley. Bentley the Bulb Orb. This is another character I took liberties with. A lot of liberties were taken with this guy. Because, you know, in Pikmin, they were, like, you know, they were on the Pikmin planet. Pikmin planet was a toxic, like, giant planet. Some people theorize it's actually supposed to be Earth. So, that's why I came up with the whole alternate reality thing with Olimar and Louie. They're from the reality where Earth is actually in a, you know, apocalyptic wasteland that's huge with weird creatures like this. But then they travel to an alternate reality where it's kind of like Haka-Tate. That's what it is. That's my lore, if you will. So, Bentley, big guy. This is not too different from the one that released around the same time as Pikmin 2. I think the material was a lot less soft, and it didn't have the red on the legs. It was all tan. But yeah, I'm Bentley. I gave him, like, what, a Fat Albert voice? Hey, hey, hey. That's basically what I did. I like Bentley the Bulb Orb. I have plans for him, but I just don't know when I'm going to get to him. He actually has, like, you know, a big open sack in his mouth, which you've seen in some videos. I think I owned a bootleg version of this at one point, a long time ago, and it was crap. Also, the eye coloring wasn't right, so, yeah. But yeah, this was also 2018, and this is the American one distributed by Little Buddy. So there you go. Not much else to say about Bentley, good old Bentley. But what can you do? That's Bentley the billboard for you. Anyways, sorry if I sound exhausted. I've been recording this for like an hour now, maybe 2 hours. I put out all this stuff for you guys, even if it looks like crap. Okay, I know that's unprofessional, but hey, that's how I roll. What's next on the list? Oh, this is definitely one of my favorites. This is definitely like, this guy has not even been around for a year, and he's already become like a fan favorite on the channel. And that's Ernie. Ooh. Yeah, Ernie, good old Ernie. As I said, this was made by Hasbro in 2013, and I got him at the very same tiny-ass Stop and Shop in Boston that I got a Cookie Monster at. And, you know, I've had Cookie Monster since the beginning, so why haven't I brought out Ernie? He's only my favorite goddamn Sesame Street character. You know me, like, you know, Ernie, you know, mischievous little scamp. I was a huge fan of Journey to Ernie back then. Loved all of his songs. I Don't Want to Live on the Moon is like the best song ever written for Ernie. One of Jim Henson's finest performances ever. So, yeah, gotta have Ernie. My voice, I try to model him after Jim Henson. Try to model the voice after Jim Henson. He's got that bit of a goofy kind of sound to his voice. And, yeah. And his thing is that he says Bert a lot. Bert! He calls everybody Bert. Because, you know, what was that, Bert? Oh, yeah. Calls everybody Bert. Even Cookie Monster, which is really weird. Yeah, seriously, Ernie, why do you call me Bert? Same performer? Not anymore. You perform like David Rugman nowadays. And then Bert is Eric Jacobson. Frank Oz doesn't perform us anymore. Oh, Bert, well, I don't know, force a habit. Okay, we can see that. Oh, good grief, Bert. But yeah, he was introduced in, a cartoon and gameplay video for the Horde mode from Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I do not like Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, but I did it because Squidward Tentacles in 1997, my good old friend, had a birthday coming up, so I was willing to do that for him. So, lucky you, Bert! Plus, he was introduced in that video because, you know, he was a big fan of Sesame Street, so there you go. And then, of course, you can't have Ernie without Bert, of course. So, yeah, we got Bert. I always try to make his voice sound less like Kermit. Yeah. Ernie, did you steal my oatmeal again? Why would Ernie steal oatmeal? Oh my god. Off the dome, it's been a long day, hasn't it? Yeah, too long. So, yeah, same video, same company, same year, same place I got him. There's not really much, and it's Bert, basically. It's Bert. Except with that edge that Ernie and Cookie Monster have in the show. Ah, Ernie. Ah. So, yeah, not much else to say. Let's see if I can actually squeeze the rest of these guys out in one take. Probably not, but we're gonna sure as hell try. So, next up, this is a character that I was kind of afraid of introducing into the show for a number of reasons, but I had plans for her, so why not? It's been a while since I introduced a, whatchamacallit, female character. So we have Lois Griffin from Family Guy.
Peter! No, Peter, don't turn me into a marketable plushie.
What is it, plushies, actually? I tried to not make her voice sound too much like Lisa. I could squeeze out of Lois. I didn't voice her in Thomas and the Quest for a Job. I was almost about to, but then I remembered Jane, or Jay, or Funky Nothingness, so there you go. But yeah, Lois is in PlushBrains now. I have her for a specific project coming up. Not gonna say what it is. And, you know, after that, I don't know if I'm gonna use her that much. So, yeah, Lois, your time on the show might be short-lived, but I don't know. Maybe, then Marge, I didn't have any specific projects planned for her. And then Marge in Charge happened, so, yeah. I know Lois is, like, notorious. Like, she is, rather, infamous nowadays. Because, like, you know, stuff. She's voted off as, like, the worst mother on television. So, I try to keep her, this is an instance where I don't try to model her close to, I don't try to model her after a later Family Guy, because I know she was more of a voice of reason in the early seasons, although she still had her scummy moments back then. I'd say even then she wasn't on the same level as Marge. But the only thing I take from the later seasons is her voice, a lot higher, because originally she was a lot lower, like,
Promise me, Peter, you won't drink tonight.
Like that kind of stuff. I'd fall asleep if I had to do that voice. Like, good gracious. And I heard that was originally a lot deeper and slower in initial takes. Like, Jesus Christ, but whatever. But yeah, she made her debut in the 4th round of Screen Life DVD Bingo. It's one of those instances where it wasn't a proper introduction. It was just a way to get her into the show. She didn't really do much in that video, now did she? Who was it? I think it was No Parking Berry who said that. This thing looks off-model. Her eyes are off-centered. Her nose might be off-centered. This thing goes for quite a lot of money. Quite a lot, actually. And I could only name reasons why. This plush has tits, actually. I'm not gonna do it, not implying it, but if you were to feel under that shirt, there are breasts. So, I mean, obviously, this wasn't made for kids, obviously, but it's a plush toy. Wait, does she have a tag? Actually, okay, now I'm violating, absolutely. That joke, okay, here we go, 2005, so that was around the time that Family Guy was uncanceled, and, okay, Nanco, okay, I was close. Wait, hold on, is that, how do you like that, Massachusetts, is that what that is? Huh, that's funny, actually, my home state. That can't be right. Now that's got to be something else. But yeah, and then this thing is bigger. Oh, didn't pull her whatchamacallit down. There you go. This thing's a lot bigger than Peter. It's kind of funny. Squidward Tentacles 1997 has a similar thing with his Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man, and I think it's freaking hilarious there. I don't know if it works the same way with my Peter and Lois. But, yeah, who knows? I've had some ideas for Lois, but I'm not sure if I'm going to go through with them yet, so I don't know. You might see one of them slightly play out in the upcoming Let's Play, but I don't know. That's not guaranteed. So, yeah, there you go. And now let's move on to the next guy that made his debut. I got her off of eBay, by the way. Next guy, Pluto. Woo, woo. Don't want to do too much of that because I don't want to alert Otis. He is a barker. Good old Oats Spagoats. By the way, I'm not counting the dogs. They're not plushes. They make cameos. It's like Squidward Tentacles 1997. It's like the cats in Kermit and Friends. Well, okay, minus the cat in the hat and the little cats. And I didn't think that through. God damn it. Okay. Whatever. Pluto. He was introduced in Hound Pounding. He is another one of those gray area characters, as some of my viewers like to call it. He's a really sinister dog. It's kind of based on, like, the old Pluto cartoons, because he was really, like, kind of antagonistic. You could argue, like, it's like Chip and Dale antagonizing him, but, I mean, Pluto did want to rip them to shreds. But I suppose that's what dogs do. I mean, I've seen it happen. Vinny's done it a handful of times. And guess who has to get rid of the bodies afterwards? Yeah, goddamn squirrels and birds and crap and groundhogs. But, yeah. But then again, there are some cartoons where Pluto is actually kind of antagonistic and he gets away with it. Like, there's this one, I think it was Bone Trouble. He steals a bone from, like, a killer bulldog, and he gets away with it, which some people have questioned, what? Why? Whatever. So that stuff is what inspired Pluto to be a ferocious, kind of like, you know, and that, like, mischievous evil life, like, Did he do that? Did he do that, or was that something else? That might have been like an MGM cartoon I'm thinking of, some random MGM cartoon. Or like the dog that appeared in all those MGM cartoons who always had that evil look on him. What was his name? I don't think he had a specific name because he appeared in a million cartoons. I think even like Magical Maestro, I loved that cartoon. It's like the best classic cartoon ever made. If you've not seen Magical Maestro, watch it now, please. It's better than any goddamn Disney or Warner Brothers cartoon. Oh, I'm in this controversial video. But yeah, Pluto, I think this was a gift from Walmart or maybe a Family Dollar or Dollar Tree or CVS. I don't know. It feels like that cheap material. Who made this? The tag is... Oh, no, it's not faded. Just Play. And Shite. What the hell? No date. What the hell? Huh. How do you like that? Alright then, forget that, and I guess I will have to cut one more time to make this stupid thing happen. Alright, we're down to the last 4, so let's get down and dirty. And here we have Spike. Woof. That's his character trait. He just, like, not much effort put into the stuff, and that's what makes it funny in my opinion. I could be wrong, because comedy it varies. Comedy is subjective, folks. There you go. That's what I meant. This is actually a part of the same lineup as the Tommy and the Lou that I have and the Boris, except it's all plastic. Actually, it's more like a vinyl, I'd say. Actually, there's some copyrights on the bottom, and it's 1997. Same old stuff. Mattel, and 1997. Although it probably released in 1998, because that's when all the Rugrats merch was coming out. So that's my bet at the very least. I bought this instead of like a Spike plush because you know, it's proportionate with the other Rugrats characters I have. So I just thought, you know, keep it consistent. Even though, when the hell do I have consistency on the show? He was also in Hound Pounding, along with Pluto. And, yeah, he's actually one of my favorites to do, actually, just recent favorites. That probably will change, but, like, you know, woof. And, like, you know, his woof, all he says is woof. He doesn't say bark or anything. He doesn't, like, growl. He just says woof, woof. Like, not much emotion behind that woof. But, like, if he's scared, it goes higher. Woof. And then, when he gets angry, it goes deep, like, woof. And I'll admit that is also slightly inspired by, actually, no, I'm kidding, it's mainly inspired by Tweetums from Hero Core 64, because he also had that. Like, when he was neutral, it was just like, you know, nice, regular voice. But then when he was, like, scared or something, he would go, like, really high. And then when he was angry, he got really low. And really low, he was angry. So, yes. That kind of stuff actually kind of works. It's random. Woof! No, you're not supposed to be scared, Spike. You're supposed to be neutral. Woof. You're not be angry. Woof. There you go. Okay, now enough about that. Let's move on. And, you know, Spike was kind of planned, but then there was one other character that I was thinking of that, you know, why don't I have him in the show? And that's Gary. Meow. And Gary's basically how he was in SpongeBob, so there's not much to say there. This is actually weird. It's, you know, we've seen plush toys with plastic parts, but have you ever seen a plastic figure with a plush part? This is, I think they called this, like, soft-shelled Gary. It was a part of, it was a Burger King toy from 2004. It was a part of the SpongeBob movie lineup. I don't know if I had this one back in the day, but if I didn't, then I clearly have it now. It's a pullback toy, as you see, so you hear that? He actually goes quite a distance with that, believe it or not. And he has a plush shell. I think that's the only reason why I brought him on, like, the way I got this one. I was going to rebuy the Thai one, but I thought this one was a little bit more proportionate to SpongeBob. Can't see him off the bat, so, Gary, you've seen him in the How to Patrick Star video for making a YouTube video. So, yeah. Him and Spike are also pretty cool, despite the whole, like, you know, cat-dog sort of thing. Woof. Meow. So, yeah. Has Gary appeared in a cartoony gameplay video yet? I don't think so. I'll have to fix that. I'll definitely have to fix that. But there's not much else to say about Gary. I got him off of eBay as well. So, there you go. But then, move aside, everybody, because we got the best PlushBrains character ever. Bubble Bass. Bubble Bass. I've wanted a Bubble Bass plush for so long. Pickles is like one of my favorite season 1 episodes of SpongeBob ever, period. Used to watch it all the time on the C Stories VHS. And, yeah, Bubble Bass, mischievous, nasty character. He's one of those, like, asshole characters that we love to hate, that sort of thing. And that's why I wanted him. He's a gray area character, obviously. He made his debut in the same video as Gary, How to Patrick Star, for, whatchamacallit. Squidward Tentacles 907 actually introduced him recently in his show. He was on the same level, apparently. And it's actually the same plush. This was a U-Tunes plush. Actually, a tiny tag right there. And this was, I think, 2024? No, it's copyright 2023. Damn, so this thing was on the drawing board for a while, apparently. But you can tell it's a U-Tunes plush because it's got the U-Tunes eyes. But I don't care. I mean, the rest of it is, like, Bubble Bass presentable. He's got a large, flat butt. Which, you know, it means he's clearly meant to be sitting. So yes, that's Bubble Bass for you. And, yes. Yes, it's perfect, honestly. I'm glad that he finally got a plush. I wasn't gonna go doing, like, a Etsy sort of thing, because those things are painfully expensive. Almost went through with it this year, but I didn't. And, I'm glad I didn't. But we move on to the final and most recent PlushBrains character in this, PlushBrains character overview video that I'm sure nobody's watching. And that is Nicolas Ninji, I guess. I've always liked Ninji. He was always a interesting looking little tiny character. Not that interesting as an enemy. I wouldn't say he's like a top tenor, but you know, I've always liked his little design. And he's been appearing a lot more in the Mario games. He was playable in Super Mario Party Jamboree. So, yes. And given all of these appearances that he was making, I knew at some point it either meant Sene was gonna make an official plush, or bootleggers were gonna go to it and do it. And yeah, it was the latter. This is a bootleg plush, and you'll be able to see what I mean. This is clearly a Sene tag or something like it. I don't know. That actually might be entirely bootlegged, but I don't know. That's still possibly a reproduction from like a Sene product or Senai product. I don't freaking know how to pronounce it. But yes, it's a Nicolas Ninji. So I said originally the character was originally voiced and based by early Cookie Monster voice. But I don't know, the more I think about it, he kind of sounds a bit more like Mojo Jojo. Kind of thinks, he thinks he sounds a little bit more like Mojo Jojo. But he's not evil. He's like Petey Piranha and Goombas, where he is not working for Bowser anymore. No Bowser for Nicolas Ninji. He's nicknamed Nick, by the way. So yes, his voice. Originally, it was like early Cookie Monster is the whatchamacallit, but I'm having a hard time, like, you know, grasping that. So I'm thinking of something that's a little bit more well-known, something a little bit more obvious, and that would be Mojo Jojo. So, yes, and I think this is actually a relatively recent bootleg plush. To my knowledge, there aren't any official ones at the moment, but I don't care, because this is actually a decent quality bootleg. I mean, holy crap. I mean, I think we've come a long way from these bootlegs, which is both a blessing and a curse. Okay, who am I kidding? It's mostly a curse, but for a bootleg plush, this is actually pretty damn slick, actually. Okay, I mean, I guess he has a bit of a butt back here, but that's not really there. What is with me and asses today? Jesus Christ. You're weird. End the video now before I get angry. Okay, Nicolas Ninji, go sit down. And that's the overview of every single PlushBrains character. Maybe you learned something here today. Now you know what all these guys have going, what makes them tick, when they were introduced, where I got them from, when they were made, blah, 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 inspirations and whatnot. I hope you enjoyed, because I had a long time making this video. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Be sure you follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram. I'll leave links to those down in the description below. And if you excuse me, I need to get ready because I am going on a road trip. Because this video alone made me exhausted. I didn't even do anything in April, but rest assured when I come back, the videos will start slowly coming out again. So, adios.